Look at everybody getting here 4 minutes ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
You love to see it.
love to see it. And that's what I love more, frankly. I'm glad that despite the name change, Upsurge kept the U.
Mhm.
That way none of the abbreviations have to change. I think that was good. It was a good plan. I think one thing that's really annoying about Runeterra versus League is that in League you can get any of the stats that you ever want by just, there's a million websites that parse through the API, and you can just get whatever you want anytime you want. But for Runeterra, you can get like some basic stats on Mobalytics, but a lot of the more in-depth stuff is behind a paywall, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. I really wish that wasn't the case. I know that it was similarly difficult to get API information from like when playing like Valorant when it first came out. And it sucks, and I wish that weren't the case.
Oh, they even changed their Twitter.
They changed their
whole brand just like flipped today.
They changed their Twitch too. I saw it because in the chat it said now hosting Unified Live.
Unified Live.
Yep. So they were on top of it. It's probably something they've been planning for a while. So they had time to set up the changes.
I don't have the draft up yet, so if they start, I am woefully unprepared for it.
I have.
But if you let me know, I can potentially swip to it relatively quickly.
Swip to it?
Yeah, swip to it.
I have it open on my other screen, so we should be prepared. Are Gwen's eyes different colors?
Yeah.
That's weird. Her head is very round, like it's almost a perfect circle.
Oh, they're hitting ours. I don't actually have this ready.
Yep, they just started it, I think. Like one of the, yeah, there we go. It just started.
All right. Well, oh, I overcopied that. Fuck.
No worries. LCS often drops in after a couple bans have already been done, right? Like this is normal.
All right. I've got that up. I think that's everything we need. I think I've notified people in a bunch of different places, and we're in to Picks and Bans for game number 1, right as my door opens. Hello. Um, so yeah, welcome. This is the Upsurge Minor League Quarterfinals between Team Aquila, the number 1 seed from the Mountain Division, undefeated thus far in tournament play, and Return of the Middlesticks, the number 3 seed from the Cloud Division. And they're going relatively quickly through picks and bans. So Irelia, Ivor, and Seraphine taken away from ROTM, and Kindred, Varus, and Morgana taken away from Aquila. The first pick, Rumble, coming through, countered by Udyr and Karma. And I'm Maris, and my co-caster is Aikido. And now I've done all of the introduction stuff, and I think we're ready to just chill and see what happens tonight.
Yeah. Should be a pretty good series here. Already pretty standard bans, I suppose. It's interesting though, despite the Irelia ban, Gwen not banned here. So potentially open for tendies, as like an R3 pick with a couple of bans to back it up. Though Nocturne being locked in, assumedly going top lane. I am uncertain how that matchup goes. I imagine that he can just kind of hear you and beat you down maybe. But it looks like Gwen is the lock-in, so ROTM getting a champ that was banned every game from them last week. And the champ that Tendies played the Masters, so should be a pretty good pickup for them here.
Yeah, I have exactly 0 functional opinions about the Gwen versus Nocturne top lane matchup, but I'm excited to see it, for sure. It should be really fun. Udyr versus Rumble, we do know a little bit more about. It's a very common matchup so far in MSI, and it seemed like a lot of pros favored the Rumble end of it for the first part of MSI, but as we've gotten further into the Rumble stage, they've actually been opting for Udyr almost as the pseudo first pick, unless you're very comfortable on the Rumble. So
yeah, and with Team Aquila taking the first pick as the Rumble, I mean, you would assume then you're definitely comfortable. You know that you left Udyr up. You're aware of what matchup you're going to be playing into, so obviously they wanted it and felt like they got the stronger end of that.
Yeah, and there's also the option for Aquila to flex the Nocturne, and I guess the Rumble. But you could look at a Nocturne mid, you could look at Nocturne jungle with Rumble mid, but you have a lot of options because they're opposite damage types. I think it's a really neat little draft so far from them. Anyway, second phase bans, Vladimir, Galio, Tristana, and Xerath not going to be seeing play this time.
I think the Galio ban makes a whole lot of sense with the Nocturne already locked in. You don't want to give them any more semi-global engage tools to follow up. So, just making sure that very strong champion doesn't find his way into this game, I think makes a lot of sense. And then Zaya, also pretty good against Nocturne, just because you can never really ult onto her. She's pretty safe, able to just kite it out.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, the priority on Zaya, though. The only AD carry that had been banned to that point, I guess there'd been 2, the Varus and the Tristana. But with Jinx open feels kind of interesting, because Jinx does pretty well into the Zaya, and feels like a pretty natural lock-in there for Aquila.
So, as you had mentioned last time that we were casting, Jinx into a champion like Rumble or Nocturne who's ulting you from a million years away, you don't have a whole lot of mobility.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit scary. So opting for more safety as opposed to the raw damage output or carry potential, I assume.
Yeah. No, definitely an interesting draft thus far, and the Viego is going to be the last lock-in, so that gives us exactly 0 clarity on anything. So these 3 champions can all be flexed around in that top quadrant. This is very interesting from Aquila so far.
Definitely. We'll have to see once we actually get into game where each of them end up. In the meantime, it's very difficult for ROTM, who assumedly is looking for a mid laner here, to know what they're even playing into. And Stylus is going to be the lock-in. A lot of short range here for ROTM. The longest, of course, being Zaya, but other than that, Gwen, Udyr, and Stylus don't have a whole lot of range to their name. Means that they're going to be running in. They're going to have to deal with the Rumble red carpet as well as Thresh to see seeing them forever. So definitely something to keep an eye on here.
Yeah, honestly, all of these ults for Silas are pretty good. Maybe Viego's being the exception, because you don't get to use the passive afterwards, but it's still a dash and an execute, which feels pretty good with Silas's kit. I don't know about the scaling that he gets with it, but like you almost can't go wrong with an ult that you're stealing to Silas.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options. Thresh, not super popularly known as having a very high AP ratio actually on his ult. You don't usually build AP on Thresh, but a Sylas with Thresh ult can do quite a bit of damage. Rumble always feeling good. Nocturne even, for some interesting out of that mid lane could be pretty spicy. So lots of options available to him.
Yeah, also kind of interesting. Firelight tends to opt for the more like defensive artillery mage, like control magey picks. So I'm really curious to see him on the on a shorter range Sylas.
I think one thing that we had seen last week was that Firelight opted for the semi-global roam style. We saw him play the Galio as well as the Twisted Fate last time to sort of enable his side lanes and you show up to these skirmishes from far away. Sylas doesn't really have as many options there regarding that other than stealing the Nocturnal. So we'll see if Firelight goes out of his way to pick that up so that he can continue that trend of roaming with the semi-globals, or if he's sort of stuck to being in his own lane, being his short-range champion that he is.
Yeah, and a lot of interesting picks coming through. You get the two newest champions to League, Viego and Gwen. Viego finally available to be played. It's a recent development for at least competitive play. So it'll be fun to watch both of those champions go, especially Gwen in the hands of Tendies. I am curious. You can still play a little bit of mind games with this champion select. You're not required to pick your own champion, although most people do. So even these pickups for Team Aquila not going to be necessarily the final lock-in.
Yeah, technically something that they can do. I think it's usually kind of shitty if you're swapping around after you've already done a pro draft, but you always have the option to get any sort of an advantage that you can. Looking at it right now with how it's lined up, Viego as the jungler means that the top side of the map very AD heavy. So any sort of tabi that Gwen or Udi are able to pick up will make that 2v2 a whole lot easier to deal with, just because you don't have to worry about the mixed damage coming from Rumble.
Yeah, we'll see if they stick with that, or if it'll be the Nocturne into Sylas feels like maybe a little stronger matchup, although I don't know. I honestly feel like, just from a gut perspective, that the late matchups are going to be pretty Aquila favored. Like, regardless of how they go. It feels like Rumble and Nocturne should be able to bully Sylas and Gwen early, kind of regardless of which one they get. But Udyr straight up should just kill Viego if he ever runs into him. If they get into just somehow a 1v1 skirmish.
At least pre-one item, Viego doesn't do a ton of damage. At that first item, he starts doing shitloads and will one-shot you, but, Udyr tankier early, should be doing more damage, should be clearing faster as well, so you'd assume that the advantage is there, but like you said, Nocturne especially is usually pretty good against any sort of melee champions that have to try and auto-attack him, because his fear lasts a really long time. So I've never seen Nocturne versus Gwen, but in my gut, I do feel like Nocturne should be favored in that.
Yeah, I feel like Gwen, at least from what I've seen, not the best champion early on. Like, can surprise a little bit with the damage from her Q. But other than that, like, not the strongest until you start hitting 1 and 2 items. Almost think of it kind of like a Vladimir in top lane. You just kind of want to chill and scale for a little bit, and then you become a monster.
I think there's a little bit of all-in cheese potential around like level 2, level 3, but in general, I would definitely agree. Generally looking for those items before you start taking over.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the lock in there. So we know that they in fact were not playing mind games. We have a Viego jungle.
Yeah. So let's take just a quick step back and review, I guess. So the quarterfinal matchup, best of 3 The winner of this will advance to the semifinals, which is going to be your first opportunity to get paid, basically. Only the top 3 in the league get paid out, so this is the kind of penultimate stage before you can at least feel like you've made your investment at least sort of worthwhile, right? It also, once you hit semifinals, it guarantees at least a best of 5, because the finals and the third place match are both best of 5, and you have that opportunity to, kind of settle into a longer series and really show your stuff. But coming in, Team Aquila, the number 1 seed from the Mountain Division, undefeated so far, but dropped a game last week in their 1v4 matchup against NEU Black, which I think we've guessed is Northeastern University, judging by our banter last week, but not 100% sure on that one still. But struggled a little bit last week in a matchup that, you would expect the 1 seed against a 4 seed from a different division to just kind of, sleepwalk over.
Definitely, especially given the fact that they had been undefeated up to that point. Just a bit of a hiccup there. We'll see if they have resolved it since then, and will come in strong to this matchup, or maybe if they were a little bit shaken by it, and if our team's able to, get an angle in here, as you would assume that they're the underdogs here.
Yeah. Also, in doing some research, I found they have a Twitter account, but no one replied. And they also haven't posted on it since August of last year, so that's kind of weird. And their website doesn't work, so I have very little information about this organization. So yeah, if there's somebody watching from the Aquila part of the world, hard to find out information about your org, which may or may not be a good thing coming in here.
You live for those inter-org Twitter bans. So, anytime that they don't have it available, it's a missed opportunity.
I mean, sometimes it just gets me through a rough day at work, knowing that I have some Twitter bans to look at. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us on the stream. Really appreciate all the support, and we're excited for this, what should be banger series between Team Aquila and Return of the Middlesticks. 5 seconds left in our spectator delay, and honestly, both of these drafts look like we're going to see some scraps. We're going to get some action, and I for one, am here for it. I for two did not update the scoreboard, so I'll need to do that in the background. We're on red side, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Would you say that maroon or yellow is their primary color? If you looked at their logo, I don't know that you.
I mean, I would assume maroon, but is maroon a primary color? I don't think so.
Well, just the primary color in their logo, not a primary color. Anyway, they loaded super fast, so we're on to the Rift for game number 1. I'll get everything set up. Sorry, I have a lot of buttons to click really quickly. Boom, 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 boom. And then the zoom out, and here we are, onto the Rift, game number 1, as Aquila already going for an early invade, gonna shove Loker back into his jungle. They actually didn't grab anything, but Firelight going in with that abduct, just looking for some trades early on. I think everybody's going to reset off of that one, so we'll have a second here as we introduce Team Aquila on the bottom side of the map, the number 1 seed from the Mountain Division. Oven Johnson in the top lane playing Nocturne, Zydak in the jungle playing Viego, One-Eyed Owl in mid on Rumble, and Wistfully in Cathaldus in the jungle, or in the bottom lane, excuse me, playing Jinx and Thresh.
On the red side, wearing the red health bars, we have Return of the Middlesticks, with Tendies 2 in the top lane on the Gwen, Loker playing the Udyr in the jungle, Firelight playing Silas mid, then DTS and Pandanda Chells on the Xayah Karma bot lane. And I do like that little invade that Aquila was able to do. You get some information as you get the ward onto the red buff. You'll find out exactly where Loker's starting. And, in a matchup that you would assume to be Loker favored with the Udyr, finding out where he starts so you can kind of avoid him, I think makes a whole lot of sense. Though both junglers starting bot side means that they're heading towards top, and with the double melee matchup, we've seen Tendies play a million of these. Both junglers playing around it, I think, makes a lot of
Yeah, he's
sense.
just walking
Tendies.
through the minion wave and hitting his Conqueror proc for a trade. He started the Dorn's Blade up in the top lane compared to a Corrupting... Or no, never mind, my scoreboard has just flipped. They actually have gone to opposite lanes than they assigned, I guess,
Uh-huh.
naturally out of Champion Select. So the Rumble up in the top lane has the Dorn's Ring, and he's chugging through his health pots very quickly.
Yeah, and it's just that Conquer is so strong when you are able to stack it in the early game, and Tendi's taking full advantage of it. Got that shove in, is even walking in to get a ward, so he's gonna find Viego out here and
Yeah,
be able
and
to then play around that.
both junglers in full vision as we saw Oven Johnson walk in and get the ward on the Raptors that Loker's standing on top of and actually clearing right now. So it's known that both of these junglers have opted for a full clear. I think it's interesting Zydax skipped over his Krug camp though, so it's the semi-full clear, I guess.
I think
Oh,
when
that
you're
hook, though, onto DTS. Pulls him into tower range, forces the heal out. He's trying to exchange some damage back across, but the flash forward from Wistfully, exhaust from Panda Chels, trying to get an auto attack, and the splash damage isn't quite there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Tendi's taking a lot of damage. Needs that reset on his Q, but it's first blood for One-Eyed Owl.
a bit of a mistake there from Tendies after the winning trades early. Felt like he could all in, but Rumble was overheated, had the empowered Q, and just did so much damage. Able to pick that up. Both the teleports going to be exchanged, and not going so well for ROTM so far. That bot lane play, a great hook there by Cataldas, able to pull DTS under turret and burn a whole lot of summoners from the side of the ROTM bot lane.
Yeah, now this even starts to inhibit Loker, as Zydak's going to be able, with the extra man advantage basically on the Rift that he's been able to acquire, to get both Scuttle Crabs, and Loker's going to be kind of a sad man, Bear Pig Turtle Phoenix, as he heads back to his base, and Zydak off to
Yeah.
what'll be a two-camp lead eventually on the
And one
start.
thing about skipping the Krug camp on a champion like Viego, when you're against someone like Udyr who is going to clear faster than you, you're both pathing to the same side of the map. If you skip a camp that you don't do super quickly like the Krugs, you're able to get up there, be able to contest the Udyr. And we kind of saw that there where he didn't lose out tempo. If he had started Krugs, then he probably wouldn't have been able to take advantage of the double crab situation.
A
Oh,
little bit of damage there from Tendies. He's tanking up a little bit, but the minions are actually doing damage to him since they are still inside that hallowed mist. Um, I do think that's
interesting.
interesting.
The
It's
Doran's ring? Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Yours is way more important than the lore
No, I
I
was
was
just
about
gonna
to go
say,
over.
Tendi's opting for the Doran's ring in addition to the Doran's blade, so some extra mana regen. Uh, I don't know her scalings all that well. Does she have AP? Oh, she does have AP scalings, of course. It's the blade then that's interesting that the auto trades. I
Yeah,
don't know
the blade is supposed to make it really easy to trade at level 1, basically like
for
we saw.
sure.
The E gives a lot of attack speed, and you can make good use of it early on, plus the
Mhm.
sustain. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's the tech, basically,
and
as far
she's
as
an
I've seen.
AP champion,
Yeah.
but the Doran's blade just gives her better trades early, especially with the Conquer. That makes sense.
Yeah, we should be
But
seeing, in whichever order, it'll be Riftmaker and Nashor's Tooth is the first two items
mhm,
from
for sure.
Tendies. But Firelight
Assumedly, in a matchup like this, I would expect to see Riftmaker first, just for the healing, just for the DPS that Rumble has. But
Yeah, and these backs are going to be pretty scary for him up in the top side with One-Eyed Owl able to get that Hextech Alternator plus some boots, which honestly pretty big for Rumble in this matchup as he'll be able to kite a little bit better with his Flame Spitter and his Electro Harpoons. So I really like that pickup. And Wistfully and, God, I haven't decided on a pronunciation. Cathaldus? Cathaldus?
I think Cathaldus or Cataldus, either way.
Okay. But they're
Oh,
going to go ahead and get Prio in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, level 6 is hit. Tendies is just flowing through with that ultimate, and it'll be a kill for Gwen up in the top lane in exchange for the dragon down in the bottom lane. So nice play by Loker and Tendies to pick that up on One-Eyed Owl. Just a little overextension, a little overconfidence after some good trades early on by the Rumble.
and especially after you highlighted that really scary point in the lane where Rumble was on a power spike. Good on Loker to be there in time to make sure that Tendies didn't get taken advantage of. He ends up starting the gank right as Rumble overheats, so wasn't even able to see the equalizer come down to try and trade out kills. And really well played there by ROTM to sort of get a foothold back into this game as starting to look a
Ooh.
little bit scary.
Yeah, Cathaldus has been really tricky with these hooks. He's leaving them in really tricky little positions. Oh, DTS not quite able to get that snare onto Wistfully. And they're going to have to back up now because in comes the Paranoia directly onto Chels first. Fear Tether going on to DTS as Zydak jumps in, and they'll be able to take down DTS, the flayback under the towers. Loker is here. He's taken low, trying to kite back away the Ignite, plus an
Oh,
auto attack going to pick him up as Cathaldus picks that one up. Wistfully able to navigate the tower, and it's a really nice dive by Aquila in the bottom lane.
yeah, really well played there. Great timing on that roam by Oven Johnson and Zydak, Zydak. Able to get down there and take advantage of the RTM bot lane being a little bit too far up. They had a big wave that they had to crash. Otherwise, it would get frozen for the next several minutes. And Aquila doing a really good job of just taking full advantage of that. Great roam opportunity. But Oven
Ooh.
Johnson's going to get collapsed on.
Yeah, Firelight looking for him, still has the Abduct,
Oh,
waiting on it. Not quite going to be able to land it, but now has the Paranoia to try to come back a little further. Gets the slows down Loker in pursuit, but they're not going to be able to get anything more than just the flash from Oven Johnson. But that'll still be a positive trade, the Silas ultimate in exchange for the flash of the Nocturne, if they can make use of that a little bit later on. Chels has to be a little careful, though. Cathaldus going to find her recalling in the bush on top of Red Buff. Meanwhile, Tendy's in the top lane, has Needlework back up, just starting to fire some of those needles through. Does he have the last shot? It doesn't look like it is. One-Eyed Owl will be able to live, but the flash is exchanged to the top laners again, so a lot of open opportunities potentially for Loker.
definitely. And this health bar uh, disparity here is going to mean that One-Eyed Owl has to take another recall, and already behind 15 CS, it only gets worse when you have to reset. You see him pinging for help there as Tendy's is not one to let his opponent chill under turret with that little HP. Actually going to back up, not wanting to risk it, but it was a scary moment there for One-Eyed Owl.
Yeah, meanwhile, the rest of the map going pretty well for Aquila, though. That 15 CS lead in the jungle for Zydak in particular has opened up a pretty big lead. Bottom lane, right now they're even on items, but the extra kill for Wistfully should come to bear here before too long as well.
Yep, definitely. Is RTM once again, it seems like they've had the shove this entire lane,
Ooh,
which
hook gonna land onto
ooh,
Chels. That could be a lot of damage. Flays her into the Flame Chompers and Wistfully picks up his second kill, excuse me.
and one thing about every time that you shove in is that Cathaldus is taking full advantage of it to look for these cheeky little hooks, and once again landing it there, able to pick up a kill. Now 201 is Wistfully there in the bottom lane, and against a matchup like Karmazaya, which should have more lane presence, should have the poke, the push, falling behind early, especially against the Jinx, not what you want to see if you're an RTM fan.
Yeah, a lot of pings around this Herald right now for Team Aquila, but Firelight and Oven Johnson scrapping in mid. Loker is here, just throws the Bear Slap into the
Oh,
spell shield because it doesn't matter. He just tears through the Nocturne, but Zydak and One-Eyed Owl looking for the red carpet, laying that down for Firelight. He's burning, but looks like he's going to survive. The rocket coming off toward the Scuttle Crab to try to steal it. That was a little bit cheeky there from Wistfully to land that one. Took it to 9 health, but Loker will grab the crab and then immediately walk into the Cathaldus. That hook didn't look like it hit, but it definitely, I guess, did, and Loker in a lot of trouble. Dodges
oh,
out of the Heartbreaker. He's got the speed from Chels. They'll get onto the Karma now, but can they turn this one back around? Tendies and DTS collapsing from the top side. Tendies dashes over the wall, looking for that
oh.
collapse. Firelight pinching from the side. They're looking for One-Eyed Owl. Loker burns down, though, to the Flame Spitter. They'll get one back for Tendies, but Zydak will be able to evacuate the enemy jungle. It's just the one-for-one trade, and with 20 seconds on the Dragon, there's not going to be that big neutral objective at the end of this.
Yeah, Tendies is already down here though, so RTM without a jungler is gonna have a little bit of trouble contesting it, but Loker survived for so long, somehow dodging out on the Viego ultimate and getting the help out from Pandanda Chell, able to just survive for so long.
Ooh,
Ooh,
now
Oven
they're
Johnson.
looking for Oven Johnson. The duck not quite going to land there from Firelight. He's going to throw the red carpet backwards in there. The blade work, or the needlework, excuse me, up for Tendies as Oven Johnson starts the initiation with the Paranoia. Tendies tanking up everything in the middle of all of this. The shield from Panda Chell's not quite enough, but they might be able to pick up a return kill. 1-for-1 is Loker trying to chase down, but he just doesn't want to commit to the fight as DTS slides in. So still another 1-for-1 off of the teleport from One-Eyed Owl, and we'll continue looking for this dragon that has just spawned. DTS has to be careful the way he's walking. Oh, sidesteps the hook, but gets hit by the zap. Forced to use the ultimate just for that little bit of safety. Doesn't look like he actually has enough mana for the pullback, but threatening it. And ROTM starts up the dragon. Oven Johnson walking in, just going to throw the Duskbringer in, wistfully with the rocket, not going to be able to steal as it's secured by ROTM. And a tense moment around the dragon has kind of been abated, as now Shelly going to be dropped in the mid lane. Zydak kiting that one back out. It'll get the charge in, so just a little bit of gold in the pocket of Zydak off of the result of that. It's a 1,000 gold lead for Team Aquila, but this could have been really explosive around the dragon.
Yeah, despite just it being a 1-for-1, that fight in the mid lane to start it off, with Tendi's just surviving so long, taking full advantage of the Omnivamp from the Leeching Leer, was able to tank up damage, make One-Eyed Owl commit so far to end up picking up that kill. And again, despite being a 1-for-1, the HP bars did favor ROTM quite a bit and let them get the position on the dragon, be able to pick that up. But it could have been so much worse for both teams, honestly. It was a very scary moment, very tense. But ROTM picking up that second dragon is good for them.
Yeah, synced recalls here between mid and bottom lane as they head back out onto the map. Loker being a little bit careful, getting back out of the river, and he'll soak up a mid wave. And yeah, as we have a second to breathe, it's about a 1,000 gold lead for Team Aquila. Dragons even at 1, and we're headed into very tense territory as we go forward here in game number 1 with turret plating about to fall.
Yeah, definitely. Both of these teams extremely close right now. Uh, Ooh, this matchup especially, they're very much isolated up here right now. The 1v1 for both top laners, no junglers on that side of the map. With Tendi's having the CS lead that he does, it'll be interesting to see if he looks for the 1v1, but it looks like he's giving a lot of respect to this Rumble so far in this game, not wanting to try and force anything. Happy with his CS lead, happy with trying to hit his items. Right now, well on his way to that Rift Maker.
Yeah, the first 2 champions, if you would have guessed the junglers would be the first ones to finish up. Oh, as One-Eyed Owl just going to drop the equalizer down on the minion wave, make sure that it can't be super shoved in by Tendies while he's gone. DTS and Chels trying to shove out as best they can with Zydak in the area. That was kind of interesting the way they cleared that ward. I don't know if that actually gave vision of Zydak, but don't
So
really have a play.
should have given vision of him because it was his sweeper that was being used. So our team should know that he was down there, and with how far back they're playing, I think they do. Um, there's just a little bit of pressure put on there against Oven Johnson as Loker decides to show his face. Has the completed mythic, the Frostfire Gauntlet this game. Um, so pretty strong as the entire top side of the map. Actually, junglers and top laners are the first ones to complete their mythics. So getting online here. Ooh,
Ooh, nice little spell shield there from Oven Johnson, and Zydak showing up with his spooky mist. He'll shove in this mid wave, and they're gonna threaten. They've been threatening this mid wave. They used the Rift Herald mid to try to get those plates, get that damage through the tower, and they continually have been shoving in Firelight with, the lowest wave clear on the Silas. He's got to be careful though, as Zydak in One-Eyed Owl jumping on Loker on the top side, burning him down underneath turret. Firelight will pick up the Rumble ultimate. Not quite enough damage. Ooh, Firelight! I don't think he intended to intercept the Jinx ultimate, but in comes the red carpet. Loker is still alive. He'll manage to survive, but they'll lose the mid lane tower for that pressure.
That's the most important thing, is just that Quill is putting on so much pressure. Again, like you said, Silas doesn't have a whole lot of wave clear, and it has to take up so much damage from the Nocturne every time that he walks up to actually try and clear the wave. Aquila doing a really good job of bringing down Rumble, taking advantage of the low health bars, and securing that first turret there. Just a really good macro play. They didn't lose a whole lot, just a little bit of CS here in the top lane as Tendi's extending the CS lead just a little bit, but otherwise, pretty.
Oh, Tendi's snuck past that minion wave, now looking for the 1v1, has the needlework coming through, has a bunch of scissors, and the flash away from One-Eyed Owl, not quite going to die to the last needlework, but gets the flash with, minimal expended for Tendi's, and that'll potentially set him up nicely up in the top lane.
Yeah, and that's no flash available for the Rumble on this next Dragon fight, which Dragon spawns here in about 20 seconds. It looks like RTM's the first ones here. They're
Ooh, Chell's
teleporting
looking
down.
for Cathaldus. Loker on the flank, gonna stun him up. Do they actually have the damage? Firelight drops the equalizer on top of him, and they'll get the pick on the enemy support. Meanwhile, Tendies has taken down the tower in the top lane, so a little bit of extra gold in the pockets of ROTM, but that's not gonna help them immediately for this Dragon. Again, both top laners have teleport available, but in comes the paranoia from Oven Johnson. Big Rumble ultimate just burning through ROTM, but it's not gonna find any casualties. That Everfrost actually was huge from Firelight to stall up the fight and stall up that engage. Tendies is finally going to finish channeling his recall, and now he can free teleport without the paranoia available. He'll rejoin the team, but the health bar's very low for the members of ROTM, but it looks like they're just not going to contest. It looks like this will be ROTM's Dragon as they do kite it out. They have enough healing. It'll get spotted now. Jinx maybe has something cheeky over the wall with this zap. That would be the only attempt, I think, at stealing. There's the zap, the Heartbreaker over the wall as well. That was a neat little thing, I guess. You can jump over the wall with the
Yeah.
Heartbreaker, get the lantern back out. I like the look, but Dragon goes to ROTM as well as the extra kills, so they'll narrow that gold lead back to 1,500.
Yeah, nice little attempt at the steal there by Aquila, but that fight in the river just carried so hard by Firelight.
Tendies
Ooh,
is looking for this. Wistfully gets pulled back, and he'll get the scissors. He'll clamp down onto Wistfully and find the solo kill in the 1v2.
Yeah, in the 1v2, he has the completed Mythic, had the flash available, and wistfully just walking a little bit too far forward, was feeling safe with Thresh in the back pocket, but Tendi's very strong right now. It saved the flash in the top lane. You remember when he had burnt Rumbles, didn't burn his own to try and trade the kill, saved it here and taking full advantage to get that kill.
Yeah, DTS is
Was
going to be in
Johnson.
trouble, though. The Mantra E just trying to get them out to safety. Shell's trying to abandon her AD carry, and maybe will successfully, but the paranoia from Oven Johnson gets the double kill for the Nocturne. And there's no response available for ROTM cross map. It's just going to be Tendies wailing away on this bottom lane tower. But Zydak has the second Herald. Sheila potentially could be dropped and burst through the second tower. Doesn't
And
look like... Oh, there it is. Okay.
it feels like just a lack of respect here from ROTM for just the range at which Aquila is able to engage on them with the Rumble ultimate, with the Nocturne ultimate. Just the effective range is just so massive that as the bot lane, if you don't have the backup of your jungler or your mid laner to help out, you just can't be up that far. And Aquila just doing a really good job around this mid lane. That initial play to take that turret, this time around taking advantage of our team having no turret to fall back to, just playing really well around the backer plays around the global ultimates that they have. But
Yeah.
as we see, quieting down a little bit here. Looks like both teams are setting up in a pseudo 1-3-1 here. The top laners in the bot lane. As the Baron spawns, you'd expect them to be there. Teleport not available for the side of ROTM, though Aquila does have theirs on the Rumble, so definitely something to keep an eye out for. See if they're able to take advantage of that cooldown disparity.
Yeah. Gold lead's still hanging around 1,000. This game is just very close on a scissors edge, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't. Does anybody actually have a knife in this game? I mean, Nocturne has knives for hands, I guess. That's about as close as we're gonna get.
I mean, what is Viego's sword, but a really big knife.
Yeah, just a really big butter knife, honestly. They're looking for Firelight in the top lane. He's got the stopwatch underneath the tower, though. Tendi's gonna jump onto One-Eyed Owl underneath his tier 2, throwing in some of these ultimate charges, and he'll find the solo kill. Gwendy's too, there in the bottom lane, really showing up.
Yeah, taking full advantage of Rumble. Must have caught him doing the golems because he was completely silenced, completely overheated, and just taking full advantage of it.
Firelight
Ooh.
jumping out with the Heartbreaker, but immediately gets snared up, and Zydak will take him down, but it's going to potentially open up these other two lanes. We've got a very split map scenario, and everybody just willing to trade towers right now. Loker just dodging out of the Viego stun as he'll run back to the safety of his bottom lane. They actually didn't hard commit for that tower, so Tendies is essentially getting this for free, but now the dive in from Oven Johnson. Snare gonna land from DTS. He doesn't have the... Oh, now finally gets the ultimate available, but it puts him in a bad position. Zydak will take over the soul. I don't exactly know the lore. He inhabits
Yeah,
the
but
body potentially. I'm not really. Yeah.
that was a really impressive death sentence there by Cathaldus, as he was able to actually catch DTS mid Gale Force, coming down from the well, he hadn't ulted yet, but he found the hook, and a really nice play there by Aquila to take advantage of it and pick up the kills, but they're not getting the objectives. The trade there, despite the kill in the top lane, kill in the mid, they still just lose that bot lane turret. Tendy's just on a tear here in the side lanes. Anytime that someone shows up, he's just pushing them out, taking full advantage of that. Now even farming up the camps. Now a 40 CS lead, has the completed Nashor's Tooth, is well on his way to his next item. Do you think that's a death cap, or
I don't
the
think.
other option would be Horizon Focus, which seems unlikely?
Yeah, that doesn't seem particularly likely, so probably the death cap is RTM looking for that engage. They're going to find One-Eyed Owl separated, and they'll be able to finish him off. A lot of damage coming down, though, onto Chels and Firelight, but they'll continue looking forward. Stun going to land onto Zydak, but no abduct as he'll flash back to safety. So the Silas, or the Viego, excuse me, a little bit too slippery there, but RTM shoves their way through, and they'll look for this dragon. This will put them on soul point if they're able to secure it cleanly, and there's really no answer for Team Aquila. They don't have a wave shoving. They don't have anywhere else they can go. I mean, maybe they could have looked for a cheeky mid lane turret, but that was even done so fast that it's going to be a pretty clean little fight win for RTM. Again, Goldly just hanging around even at 23 minutes.
Yeah, and it's just the timer on that catch. Our team always does just such a great job of looking for them right before the objective spawns, so that they're able to get it pretty well uncontested. And Aquila, One-Eyed Owl just not in the right place there. Now 3, 5, and 2 has had a bad string here in the last few minutes of getting caught out. And this time around means that they lose the dragon. ROTM threatening the Infernal Soul here in just a few minutes. Despite losing the first dragon, have gotten the last 3, doing a really good job coming back there. As Aquila setting up the vision around the Baron as the next major objective. Um, yeah, taking advantage of our team having to recall. We'll see. Our team coming off the base will have to fix up their waves and push back in, see if they're able to get that vision back for themselves. But
Yeah, looks like potentially.
notice Nocturne.
Yeah, they were looking for a play onto Tendies, it looked like, but the ward coverage from Tendies is actually really good. They're going to maybe find Loker, force the flash out of the Udyr in the jungle, as they're threatening the Baron. They can do it pretty quick with the double Kraken Slayer on Jinx and Viego if they ever get a moment alone with the Baron.
Yeah, and Nocturne's actually roaming down again.
Yeah, they're
Looking
going to
for
get the
either bot
paranoia,
lane.
dropping those ultimates down onto Tendies. He's trying to dash out. Can he actually turn any of this damage around? It doesn't look like it. It'll be a big shutdown going to Oven Johnson. A little bit of damage coming down onto Wistfully as Loker was able to get onto him, but the Dark Passage out to safety. And what can ROTM do? They have a numbers advantage around this Baron as Loker gets sped up, and Zydak has nowhere to run right now, getting collapsed on, but will find the kill onto Chels, just taking her down. Firelight grabs the Karma ultimate, but Loker has nowhere to go. That's really weird. You can grab your own team's ultimates from the Viego club.
From Viego? Yeah, it's very interesting. But
Yeah, Baron
yeah,
is the bigger thought right now as they're chewing through it, and there's going to be no contest available for ROTM, no tendies on the map to split push and grab something in return. It's down to 3,000 health, and yeah, no members of ROTM anywhere near, no long-range abilities. That'll go to Team Aquila, so the picks around the Baron area net them the
yeah.
biggest advantage they've had in the game so far.
Despite just, we saw that ward coverage in the bot side of the map there for ROTM. They saw the Nocturne roaming down, but unfortunately Tendies was just a little bit too far forward. Again, just not really respecting the long range capability of this Rumble ult. The slow just really setting up the Nocturne so well means that Aquila gets the first pick, and then RTM looking for a counter pick. They try to engage onto Viego, but Viego just able to completely burst out Karma, pick up the kill, and stall it out. Aquila really just turning it around here, flipping the script as it looked like our team was ahead, looked like they were in the driver's seat
Oh, they might
after the
look for
last
this
Dragon play.
rinse and repeat onto Tendies. In comes Zydak and Oven Johnson. Can Tendies find the big outplay? He's got his W going, got the snip snip, and it just doesn't matter as Zydak continues to auto-attack him down. Aquila finds another pick onto Tendies to set up. Minute 44 on this Infernal Soul, and that feels like the big moment for ROTM. They're going to need to secure this Infernal Soul, or the game's going to very quickly get out of hand.
Yeah, definitely need to just try and stabilize here for the next minute or so. Wait for your Gwen to spawn. And oh, Zydak does an aggressive blast plant forward there. He has the lantern to get back out. But yeah, our team just needs to make sure not get caught here in the next minute or so. Group up, try and stabilize before contesting this drag. And if they're able to pick up the soul, then that could be a major win condition. The other option, of course, is to just give it, hope that it delays this Baron push here from Aquila. And lets your laners hit just a couple more items. Tendy's very close to the death cap, so that might be the option, is to just contest the next dragon instead.
Yeah, Firelight gonna zoom forward. They know Zydak's a little bit separated. They have the Rumble ultimate. They have the teleport coming in from Tendies. This looks like a big moment. They're jumping onto Wistfully, but not quite able to finish him off. Paranoia popped, gonna make this a little bit more difficult, but Tendies is onto Wistfully, finds the assassination on the AD carry. Loker trying to kite back away. Zydak is down. It's a double kill for Tendies. They're looking for Evan Johnson. That was a really good spell shield by him. Tendies over the wall, continuing to try to find the chase. The abduct just doesn't quite land there from Firelight, but Aquila has to evacuate the jungle, and there's 20 seconds to go on this spawn. The mid lane turret taken down by Loker as well. DTS trying to cover some of these wards back behind, make sure. I don't know if they have the cooldowns for Evan Johnson and One-Eyed Owl, but now maybe another pick. The Everfrost, One-Eyed Owl so low, has the flash away. Do they have any damage? The speed up from the Mantra E, but the Dark Passage is there. Cathaldus has been so important in evacuating members of Team Aquila from these team fights, but it looks like it'll be the Infernal Soul for RTM.
Yeah, and just the play there was DTS in the mid lane, seeing Jinx walk up a little bit too far, just aggressively Gale Force forward, was able to just completely push her out of the fight, and then Firelight with the Rumble ultimate just did so much damage, allowing ROTM to pick up the 2 kills, apply the pressure, and Screw trying to wait for the next dragon, Screw trying to wait for power spikes. They're looking for these picks, and they're able to secure the gold there. And just this game's so back and forth. Even though RTM's down 2k gold, they're winning the fights, and after picking up the Infernal Soul, that only makes it more likely that they're going to be winning. Just so much burst going to be coming out from the team right now.
Yeah, I think most of the souls equate to about 3,000 gold of stats. So with that factored in, it's about 1,000 gold lead for RTM potentially for the first time in this game. Although it doesn't show on the scoreboard right now. That's still 2k gold deficit in terms of items and actual advantage.
Yeah, but
oh,
imagine.
DTS might be in
Oh,
trouble. Zydak and One-Eyed Owl, did they spot him out? This is really
they know
awkward.
he's there.
They know he's there. Does he know they're there? Oh, he sees the
Oh,
Infernal Soul proc. He's got to get out, though. Zydak lands the stun. The counter Paranoia, though. They have the Feather Storm. Oh, it's the Paranoia in the mid lane. They're going to blow up the Jinx, so both AD carries going to be the victims. Is Zydak able to steal the body of Zaya and then escape?
yeah, and both 80 carries being up just a tiny bit too far. These teams obviously taking full advantage of the squishy bodies, but Panda is in a bit of a precarious position, but
Yeah,
Nocturne.
they're going to invest the Paranoia onto her, but there's an opportunity to collapse here. Everybody flying in, the Rumble ult burning down Firelight and Chels. Chels trying to escape out of the top side. Firelight still low. They'll find 2 kills, though. Team Aquila punching back now with 2 picks of their own, and they'll look at this inhibitor turret. Tendies is slow to recall, and they're going to lose the inhibitor turret at least. Do they lose the inhibitor off of this? It's 2v4. Do they want the engagement? DTS is respawned, so 4v3 on the map. There's no real low health bars. There's no ability to initiate, and it looks like it's just going to be the clean inhibitor play for Aquila.
Yeah, and this game's just swinging back and forth as both teams are playing a little bit too far forward and getting picked. They're taking turns just punting it away, the numbers advantage. Ooh, Zydak going to be able to get out with the lantern there. Loker?
Loker, I don't
Still
think
looking for
really
it.
wants this. He's got Tendies in his back pocket, so feeling confident. Tendies onto Zydak. Loker low. Zydak trying to get the reset. He can't get that kill, and Tendies finishes him off. That's a huge shutdown for Tendies.
Yeah, and Zydak was feeling confident, didn't feel like he had to keep running away. Loker just stalling there, so tanky and so fast, able to make sure that Tendies is able to catch up to him and pick up the kill there. And that's a pretty massive swing. Once again, just both teams taking turns getting caught out here. And this time right before the Baron, it's spawning in 8 seconds, and Aquila won't have a jungler for it.
Yeah, Loker gets
Ooh.
the Randuin slow onto One-Eyed Owl. They're not going to be able to really turn on to that. But now with the Baron spawn, that looks like the big objective for ROTM. Still 20 seconds to go on Zydak. They have no Jinx Rocket, actually, so it's just the Paranoia would be their long range, the Paranoia plus the Rumble ultimate, if they can peek in. But Firelight playing linebacker right now, jumping onto Oven Johnson, trying to find the Abduct, but the Dark Passage again out to safety. But the Baron for ROTM, this game is so tense. Saikano, uh, we're 1,000 gold apart at 32 minutes. Now, Baron buffs on the members of ROTM. Not a whole lot of free turrets available, though, so it's going to be a long push for them. And the way we've seen this game swing, it's a scary proposition to be anywhere on the map alone.
Definitely, especially since this composition from RTM wants to 1-3-1. They want to create these, solo side lane situations, but Aquila with the Nocturne, with the Rumble, are able to engage from such a range that it's dangerous to try and set that up. Yes, even now, our team just has to stand so far back here, respecting the engage, and yeah, it's just so difficult to actually push out. DTS though is solo laning top. RTM knows that no one's up there, so he's safe to do so for the moment, but it could be a precarious position shortly. Dragon
Yeah,
spawns in 90 seconds, so we'll have to see if RTM wants to try and push and pick up something before that, or if they just want to play for the Elder, because Elder, kind of a game-ending buff.
Yeah, Recall's being hit by Aquila, so we'll see a little bit of free time on these waves for ROTM. They're going to shove this one in mid. Looks like it's going to be the big point of emphasis. Tendy has teleport. DTS is still separated up on the top side, so they can't engage too far forward. And they have to be careful, though, with Oven Johnson having the Paranoia available as they swing back toward mid. ROTM, the ebb and flow of the minion waves on the map, the most interesting things right now. 1 minute on this Elder Dragon spawn, and this Baron just seems like it's going to put a stop timer on the game, is what our team's going to use it as. But
Oh,
there's the Paranoia being invested. They're looking for Firelight. They're not going to be able to find him, and 2 ultimates used. Do RTM now maybe look for the counter engage as they've grouped up kind of around the mid area? Tendies has his teleport available as Aquila swings in toward this Elder Dragon. 30
note
seconds to go on that spawn.
and notice in Tendy's inventory, the double stopwatch going to be available for him in this next fight. Going to be able to create so much space. Definitely something to keep an eye on as both of these teams have to contest this. Whoever loses this fight potentially loses the game. Elder's just so incredibly strong, and RTM actually has the priority on the mid wave. They still have Barons, so they can pressure the inhibitor, but Dragon spawning here in just 10 seconds, meaning Aquila and RTM are both going to have to make
Oh, and
commitments
Cathaldus
here.
might have made the mistake. He has to flash back away. In comes the engage. They're looking for Cathaldus. Tendies is going to find that pick. The Rumble Ultimate's just burning the top side of this rift apart. Oven Johnson low. Does Tendies have the blade work? He's got the dash forward. The
Oh,
snip, not quite enough damage. Paranoia popped. I don't know whose team it's for, though. One-Eyed Owl is separated from his team. He's getting engaged upon. He's low. He's stunned. He's down as DTS finds the kill. RTM gets 2 picks right before the Elder spawn, but the Elder snuck away. Zydak and wistfully Sneal the Elder back away from the back pocket of ROTM. They're going to find Zydak, but Tendies has to stopwatch. They have to play this so carefully. Zydak has so much damage, so does Wistfully. He executes 1, but they'll find the counter kill. The rocket
oh,
burning DTS down. He's
oh!
gonna live though, just a little bit of healing he's got. ROTM still continuing to push in this mid lane. The zap gonna land. The burn. Wistfully is the only one with the Elder, but oh, never mind. Oven Johnson has it. They'll turn that one back as Tendies is now unstoppable. They'll take down Wistfully. It's a double kill for Tendies. Cathaldus is the only one alive right now for Team Aquila. Firelight and Tendies going to work on this inhibitor turret. They have DTS in the back pocket, but he's got essentially no health. Has to be very careful about when he chooses to enter. One-Eyed Owl is alive now in 3, 2, and 1. He's got the Rumble ultimate available, but Cathaldus is stuck underneath the tower. He gets stunned up. He gets taken down as Firelight drops the red carpet, the counter red carpet. The game just ends like this? Why, spectator? I'm going to assume that ROTM wins game number 1, but I have no... Why?
I mean, I assume that they just walk up, maybe Rumble gets one shot, but God, what a crazy end where our team are able to get the picks, but Aquila sneaks out the Elder, and that fight was so close. There were so many moments where it looked like Jinx and Viego might be able to turn the 2v4, but our team just barely staying alive are able to take advantage of the numbers situation, push down, and assumedly end the game here. Whew.
Why? I
Frickin' spectator.
I hate this so much. Why is it? This is the one time I've been genuinely angry about it, though. Like, this is a situation I'm not 100% sure how it turns out. I guess the timer is just enough that they can clear the base and end it. I
Yeah, it has to be, but the other assumption would be in like 15 seconds, Aquila teleports in and clears the entire RTM base, which I think our team's able to pick it up there.
I
But
yeah,
when
I
will Riot fix that shit? Oh
this
my
is
god.
that's frustrating, but ROTM leads 1-0. Do we have any info in the chat? My hairline is already starting to recede. IRL in this game did not help. All right, well, that's that's definitely a thing. ROTM leads 1-0 though. We're headed to game number 2 in just a couple of minutes. You won't want to miss it. Game number 1 was lived up to the hype, other than the ending that was kind of anticlimactic. We were right there, and then we just got blue balled right at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Go pee real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
How's it going?
It's all right. Uh, we have another 5 minutes apparently, so I'm gonna take a
Oh
quick
yeah?
step away as well. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. It looks like they readied up in the chat if you're still around. Yeah, draft to start now. Well, I can't
All right,
change what
I'm
we're
back.
looking.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm back just in time. Yeah, welcome back. Game number 2 between Team Aquila and Return of the Middlesticks. Um, Already some adaptations in the draft. Um, but yeah, Irelia, Gwen, Ivern taken away by Aquila, and Varus, Morgana, Kindred, the same 3 bans for Return of the Middlesticks. And it's the first pick Karma for Aquila.
Yeah, so a little bit of a change here. The Gwen, of course, was pretty massive in that last game, especially down the stretch. Tendies was just so strong on it that, the ban there I think makes a lot of sense. But the Karma first pick means that Rumble not being picked up here, not perhaps didn't have as much impact as they were hoping for. It felt like Rumble was really strong. Those ultimates were massive for both teams, actually.
Yeah.
But perhaps deciding that the early pressure in the bot lane a little bit more important, and we see Lulu picked up for ROTM, so maybe we see a hyper carry. Maybe this is Jinx, maybe this is Kog'Maw. Yeah, Jinx makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the Lulu as well kind of almost deters the same style that Aquila was playing in game number 1. Lulu very good into Nocturne, very good into Viego as well, because when they go into melee range, you just turn them into a squirrel, and they're very sad for like 2.5 seconds.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Nocturne hopping in, getting knocked up by Wild Growth, and then CC'd. So the Kog'Maw would mean that both teams are sort of opting into that hyper carry front to back style, which very different from the skirmish heavy, pick heavy version that we saw in game number 1. So despite the bans being very similar, the picks are not here. We'll see what Aquila Orianna.
Yeah, so not
lots
playing
of shields.
Yeah, lots of shields. Not playing that flex game, but they're really putting it on the back of Wistfully, it looks like, to carry them through here. This is a do or die game for Team Aquila. They need to win or they're eliminated from the tournament.
So R3 here. Oftentimes the Tendies pick, Riven is open. Are we gonna see the lock-in and then the double ban top lane? Yep, the Riven locked in, Pog.
Yeah, so Riven for Tendies 2. No more Gwendies, unfortunately, that's on the bench, but still getting a pick that he's very comfortable, very well versed on. Should be a lot of fun. And yeah, now you would expect, like, for Renekton, I'm not exactly sure what all Oven Johnson plays, but Viego, that makes a lot of sense given what we saw last game as well.
Yeah, the Viego was pretty strong, and one thing I worry about is Aquila with them clamping down on the jungle pool there. Our team gets their first shot at the jungler. On R4, they're probably going to lock in, I would assume Rumble, or, some other good jungler here, which is a little bit scary because that means that Aquila, if they're the ones clamping the jungle pool, are the ones that are going to get hit most by that clamp.
Yeah, and this is a lot of confidence from Tendies, though, not using this R3 availability to ban top lane. Instead, they're taking away junglers from Zydak, which, huge respect towards Zydak. He had a phenomenal game number 1, even in the loss on the Viego. And, one more ban for Aquila. Sorry.
I wonder if it's just a champion pool thing for Evan Johnson, just because in game number 1, our team also did the R3 top lane pick with Gwen and then just decided to not ban any junglers. So, maybe just feeling like, Tendies is pretty comfortable into whatever he's playing, but Galio notably open here. I would not be surprised to see that as an option for ROTM, but I'd expect to see jungle here. Maybe some front line.
Going for
actually, the
Xerath.
Xerath lock.
Yeah. The Xerath
Very
was
nice.
banned in game number 1, so Firelight getting a comfort champion, a good matchup into Orianna as well. Um, I do
I wonder
worry
if
about.
there's.
Sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do worry about making it stick with all of the shields between Orianna and Karma, making all of that poke like super worthwhile. But
One
um,
thing that can make a champion like Kog'Maw pretty sad is if he gets poked out of the fight before it even starts. You know, it's sort of the power of Xerath and Vel'Koz is making sure that the AD carries aren't allowed to participate in the fight just because they lose so much HP at the beginning of it. So maybe, you know, leaning into that and hoping to win fights before they even start here. But I'm just kind of wondering what the idea behind holding back the jungle pick is. You know, is there a specific matchup that our team's looking for, or do they just not really have an opinion on the junglers that are left open? And Rumble specifically, obviously still open, but Diana actually going to be the lock-in for Aquila.
yeah, Morgana kind of the big power pick that's left. I don't know. Uh,
She's banned.
oh, never mind. Morgana not left open. Yeah, I'm not sure what a power pick would be. Like Diana seems about as good as you're gonna get with this pool then.
Yeah, I feel
Oh, the
like
Nunu
Diana.
and Willump. Here we go.
Yeah, which I think the front line makes a lot of sense for the side of ROTM. Um, the Diana pick feels kind of strange to me for Aquila. On one hand, it definitely plays into the Wombo combo of the Orianna, of the Ornn. The potential there is pretty massive, but it feels like Diana team fights at a very different speed than Karma and Kog'Maw. Like Karma and Kog'Maw want to play team fights slow. They want to play it front to back. They want to just DPS and kite, right? Whereas Diana wants to go in, wants the team fight to end in 2 seconds flat. Um, which, you know, it just feels like there's a little bit of anti-synergy, though with how much AoE, um, how much wombo potential you have from the side of Aquila, it probably isn't that big of a consideration.
Yeah, I mean, you have that decisive moment. It's going to be hard to peel off that quickly, but you know, you have one diver against Lulu, and we kind of talked about that strength of that champion just a little bit, and it's going to have to be a very strong game, I think, from Zydak, and really playing around that polymorph cooldown in order to find big success.
Yeah, but Aquila definitely indexing into that team fight. That is what they want to look for. This is a 25, 30-minute team composition where if we hit that point, we're not behind, we are going to beat you just through a team composition. Whereas ROTM, you know, once you lock in Riven and Nunu, these champions don't team fight super well. You know, Nunu just kind of creates space, and Riven, if she gets ahead, can one-shot some people, but doesn't want to team fight. Um, you know, it feels like there's much more of a timer on this ROTM comp. They need to get a lead, and they need to make something happen, because I don't think that you outscale the Ornn Orianna Kog'Maw composition.
Yep. Team's taking a second here, I guess, just to breathe after this draft. Neither side has actually readied up for the second draft. Well, yes, we've had one draft, but what about second draft? So we'll get a little bit more time to kill. Um, but yeah, again, it's match point for ROTM. Another win, and they're through to the semifinal. A loss, we go to game number 3, and now readied up by Zydak from Aquila. So we're just waiting on the matching ready from Return to the Middlesticks, and we'll head into Champion Select number 2. There we go.
Yep. Our second go at it, so 4 minutes to fill. But yeah.
Whew. The this is where I get nervous as a player. Like it's not the first draft. The first draft is like comfort zone almost. It's when you're sitting there after your pro draft. You just are going through the same thing again. You get that, 5 minutes just to be in your head talking about your team comp. Trying to chat with the boys. But I don't know. This is where it always gets me as a player in these high pressure situations.
Yeah, the extra delay can make it a little bit harder to sort of get in the zone. Once you've already done the draft, done the selection, it's a couple more minutes before you actually get into game. That's why pro draft sucks. But
yeah, okay, everyone, listen up. Return of the Middlesticks is gonna hop off their post, walk out of the cornfield, and caw on your asses. Y'all ever experienced a deep suck? Well, you're about to get the slurp of a lifetime from the ROTM squad. I know what I'm talking about too, since my name is Liposuction Lane. Then, after we have drained all your life juice, our crow storm will come down and eat your lifeless carcasses. Caw, caw, caw! Oh god, my voice just gave out during that one. Hashtag ROTM fighting.
I think he did great.
The last 3 caws left a little bit to be desired, I'll be honest. But it's also rough because as a spectator, I just want game 1 again. Like that was a hype game as a spectator. As a Middlesticks biased caster and Middlesticks co-owner, I do not want that because having a heart attack while you're casting is a little bit rough.
Yeah. Yeah, no, game number 1 just swung back and forth. Off the back of just pick after pick after pick. It was so difficult, even to the last seconds, to tell if either team was going to be able to come out on top. It's still uncertain. Our team, we never actually saw the Nexus explode.
Yeah, it could be for all we know, it could be 1-0 Aquila right now, and we could be playing into. My God, that would be the troll of a lifetime. All right, we'll get you a prediction this game.
Yeah, what's the prediction? What are we looking at?
All right, you're gonna tell me who's gonna have more kills? Firelight on Xerath or DTS on Jinx?
Ooh. That's interesting. So I think that given the team composition, it feels like ROTM has to get a little bit of a lead in the early to mid game to end up winning, right? So I think that you kind of need your Riven to get ahead. And if that's the case, I think that it's more likely that Xerath participates in Riven kills than Jinx does. And if Jinx ends up with more kills than Xerath, then that probably means that the game went later and the ROTM didn't win. So I think if you want ROTM to win, it's a Firelight bet.
So my thought is, if you think back to last week, remember DTS flashing forward on the Jinx to secure the triple kill in base?
The Varus?
It was Varus, not Jinx. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Firelight on Xerath not getting kills and just sponging up people for DTS to kill?
True.
Yeah. I don't know. DTS is a madman, and Firelight tends to play a little bit safer, which there's benefits to both playstyles. I'm not trying to say one is inherently better than the other, but
and we all know which one's inherently better. Wink, wink.
We all know which one's more fun to watch. I don't know that it's inherently better.
Oh, when you put it like that, Jinx.
There's a lot of people betting. I didn't realize that this would be the hype bet. All right, we had 12,760 on Firelight and 7,000 on DTS. Like, damn.
So do you think that it's gonna be DTS?
If
you were a betting man, if you were putting down the points.
If I were putting down the points, I would probably put a small bet on DTS. But
yeah,
I don't have any particular confidence in it. I do think this is a good bet, though.
I will be your instrument through which you can bet through. How many points do you want to put down on DTS?
Give me like 2,500.
2.5?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and double that just so it evens out.
Jesus Christ, no. I'm not willing to throw your 5,000 points on the line here. That's a lot.
That's okay. I'm willing to throw them down.
Alright. We have wasted all of spectator delay. Again, game number 2 of the quarterfinals here. ROTM on match point, looking to close the series out against Team Aquila, the number 1 seed from the Mountain Division, up against the wall. We saw Zydak have a really strong game on the Viego. He's going to need just as strong, if not stronger, on the Diana to try to punch through this team composition from ROTM. Yeah, this
Yeah.
should be fun. I thought that my hype would take us a little bit longer into spectator delay, and then it didn't. So
I want you to know I'm hyped going through spectator delays. So, in that sense, I think that you accomplished your goal.
just love watching timers count down.
If only there was a way for us to watch the draft and then immediately get into game. I don't know how that would work, but
Yeah, that would be
oh my god.
very novel. Yeah, the
They have
loads
the
have been very fast in this.
supercomputers.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to Summoner's Rift for game number 2. On the blue side of the rift, wearing the blue health bars, is going to be Team Aquila. Oven Johnson playing Orin. Zydak in the jungle on Diana. One-Eyed Owl in mid playing Oriana, and Wistfully and Cathaldus in the bottom lane playing Kog'Maw and Karma.
And on the red side of the whip, we have return of the Middlesticks up 1-0 in this matchup, looking to close it out here with Tendies 2 on his legendary Riven in the top lane, Loker playing Nunu in the jungle, Firelight playing Xerath mid, and then DTS and Pandan to Chels on the Jinx and Lulu bot lane, and Loker getting pushed out again. I really like this type of invade to get the ward down. I feel like not enough teams take advantage of it. There's just so much information gained, and it should be pretty safe. But our team got a ward to match it on the enemy red buff, so both teams will know where the junglers are starting.
Yeah, what was that symbol on all 3 of their heads to begin the game? That was very strange.
That was Nunu's passive, maybe.
Nunu's passive, maybe? That kind of makes sense.
I don't know what else it could be, because there were no other champions that it could have been. It must have been Nunu's passive. Or did he start E? No, he didn't start E, so yeah, I think it was his passive.
Okay.
Maybe it was available. I don't.
Well, regardless, both junglers going to start on the bottom side of the rift and head up toward that quadrant that they have jungled. This is, again, full knowledge, and it looks like Zydak is going to kite back toward his Krugs this time, so opting for the more full clear than we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, and this time in a matchup where he probably clears faster than Nunu. Nunu, not the fastest clearer in the world. The big thing about Nunu is that you don't have to clear. The secret of Nunu in your matchups is to just try and make the other jungler as useless as you are. And maybe pick up a couple of ganks here and there.
That was true of old Nunu. I don't know that it's as true of Nunu.
Nunu?
But yeah, DTS and Chell's going to hit level 2, get a little bit of damage down onto Cathaldus. That was a nice little sidestep on the zap.
What is that Xerath skin? If
That's
it brings us
brand
back.
new. Yeah, it's Arcana Xerath that came out yesterday, 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
No, it was last Thursday. So it's been like 4 days, but yeah. It's really neat.
Oh.
I like those skins a lot. Unfortunately, I'm broke, have no money, so I don't have any, but yeah.
But we get to appreciate them. Vaughn came in here and showed us his, so we can still appreciate it. Did Firelight just take blue? He has a ward down. He might try and take it. Do you see this?
Yeah, he's definitely sliding in there. He's not going to be able to take it, but they're forcing Zydak out of his own jungle right now. He's trying to get onto his Gromp, but he's getting
Nunu's
snowballed
coming
on from the bottom. They're putting a lot of pressure down onto Zydak early on, and Loker layering in some snowballs, just going to push him back out. The Gromp's still alive and attacking, still very mad about something.
Yeah, that was just such an interesting roam there with Firelight heading up, got the ward over the wall, and wasn't quite able to get in range to contest the blue, but, making Zydak's life just a little bit more frustrating. He doesn't lose anything for it, as the Oriana not able to crash that wave while he's gone. Oh, Nunu ganking mid, though.
Yeah, Nunu looking mid. One-Eyed Owl has his flash available. Can he get to the wall? Looks like he will, but flash forced by Loker and Firelight in mid. Firelight has to be careful. He doesn't have the most mana now, but Loker wants this grab, but he's actually just getting auto-attacked by Oriana over the wall. That's a little bit frustrating, and it looks like Aquila might be able to secure it, although DTS and Chels are going to be first to rotate from the bottom lane. They'll throw down the Flame Chompers, trying to separate this fight just a little bit. This 2v2 could really break out. It doesn't look like they actually have Firelight or Loker coming, so it's just going to be the straight 2v2 for the time being. Now Loker looking around the side. We're watching top lane for some reason though, as Tendy's
Yeah.
just gonna hit the broken
It's
wings.
okay, we're just casting off of the mini map as directed camera. Doesn't find that any interesting. Much prefers the top laners just beating their heads against each other. But at the end of the day, Aquila, despite not having priority in the bot lane, able to take advantage of Orianna having push and picking up that crab for their jungler.
So Oven Johnson started with an armor, a chain vest, and he's just straight built a bramble vest.
I think that probably makes sense. If there were any champion to start a cloth armor, it's probably Ornn because he can just buy items, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think it seems reasonable. It makes it a lot harder for attendees to trade into it, especially since you're not uh, getting as much off of your Conqueror, which is sort of what he was using earlier to bully Oven Johnson. But actually, the teleport expended by Ornn means that he might get taken advantage of. Loker's up here.
Yeah, Tendy's looking very aggressive, but in comes Loker with the greatest snowball ever. Gonna get the knock-up onto Oven Johnson. Do they actually have the damage to finish him off? Doesn't look like it. He's got the timing on the flash. But now no summoners available for Oven Johnson. He's chunked out in that top lane. And Loker and Tendy's can shove this wave in. And
Yeah.
they have to be a little bit careful, though, because Zydak is just hanging around in the wings. Tendy's has his ultimate available now. Hits level 6. This is kind of scary. Here comes... Yeah, Zydak has that Crescent Strike over the wall. He's just popping. He's looking for it. Coming in on Oven Johnson. He finds first blood. Zydak will trade that one back underneath the tower. Meanwhile, Loker looking in mid lane. The sidestep from One-Eyed Owl into the shockwave heal used by Firelight. How did he heal?
No, the Nunu Consume was actually on the minion.
Oh, that was
so
weird. Okay.
Healed a shitload. But that play in the top lane, it felt like Oven Johnson and Zydak just weren't expecting Tendy's to flash forward, which he popped the broken wings, or he popped the ultimate. Blade of the Exile?
Yeah.
He used his ultimate ability. It kind of looked like Zydak fell asleep. He just wasn't there in time, despite waiting there for 20 seconds. And Tendy's able to trade that kill, but most importantly, crashes a massive wave, gets a huge XP lead, and this wave is slow pushing back into him. And Oven Johnson still doesn't have flash, doesn't have teleport, so it just gets that much worse in the lane for him. As Loker looking bottom here.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Zydak actually still hasn't backed. He's still just sitting on his Ember Knife and his health pot. Flash away from Cathaldus is wistfully taking a little bit of damage. And again, more summoner spells being exchanged. Tendy's, though, in a little bit of trouble. Zydak is here, has the Moonfall available if he wants it. Tendy's trying to kite this one back out. It is popped finally by Zydak. Do they actually have the damage to take him down? He dashes over the wall. Zydak has the counter flash. Tendy's looking for it, hits the stun. Where's the rest of the dashes? Where's the Riven bullshit? It's not quite there. He just the wall's a little too thick for Tendy's to get over, and Zydak eventually finishes him off.
Yeah, but our team gonna take advantage of it, be able to secure that dragon, and most importantly, Tendy's still has teleport. So even if Ornn is able to crash this wave, Tendy's isn't gonna lose much. Yeah, he's teleporting up there. He's actually gonna all in him. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, but the most important thing is that Ornn lost control of his wave. He wasn't able to crash it, which means Tendy's, if he wants to, there's enough minions he can permafreeze that shit forever. And unless Zydak is going to just chill up there and babysit Ornn for the rest of the game, it's just not going to go well for them.
Yeah, and you can see Tendy's onto the double ability haste items now with the Kindle Gem and the Caulfields. Looking for the slow, the biggest snowball ever coming in wistfully underneath his turret. They're going to open up the Xerath ultimate as well. 1-2 over the top. Flash forward from Loker. They just don't have the damage to chunk through wistfully and Cathaldus. Meanwhile, Firelight gets collapsed on. He's forced to cancel his ultimate. Zydak, does he actually have a dash left? The shield from Pandan to Chels as well as the heal from DTS invested to get their boy Firelight out to safety. But that dive does not go well for RTM.
Yeah, and Loker was just a little bit too far forward. They didn't have the wave available yet to tank it for him, so he was taking from the beginning. And even though Firelight popped his ultimate, he gets jumped on by Zydak, so he's not able to help out enough. And sort of a disaster there after the plate looked like it was set up all right, but just did not go well. Tendy's pops the ultimate.
Yeah, Tendy's continuing to scrap into Oven Johnson now, getting that damage back through. Gets the wind slash, and he finds the solo kill in the top lane. Tendy's has frozen that wave now away from Oven Johnson, gotten a solo kill. He's off to a huge lead in the top lane.
And that's a kill that was invested in and, set up 3 minutes ago. When he burnt the Orin teleport, when he burnt the Orin flash, when he has done just such a great job of controlling this wave. And once again, he crashes it. Orin doesn't have teleport. He can't teleport up there to fix his wave. It's going to slow push back into Tendies. Orin is going to have his flash up this time, but it's just a disaster up there. 31 CS lead here for Tendies. And Zydak is, if he wants to stop the bleeding, it's gonna require a babysit, which means that the rest of the map is, free for the pressuring from Loker and the rest of ROTM.
Yeah, DTS and Chell's going to take a turret plate in the bottom lane, not insignificant amount of gold in their back pocket. They've got a small CS lead as well down here. It's really the CS lead that's equalized the extra kill um, for ROTM, and it's led us to, again, a completely even game at 10 minutes, other than
And
the one dragon in the back pocket of ROTM.
oh, Loker's looking mid, but
Yeah, he
gonna
hits
find
the
a knock up and not
snowball.
much else.
Yeah,
But Zydak's still in the area. And just based off the amount of pressure our team has on the top side of the map, Zydak reset into his top side where he had just cleared all of his camps just because he needs to be on the top side of the map.
yeah.
Oh,
Firelight lands the stun with the arcane, or the. Never mind. I'm not gonna try. One Night Owl takes him down. Sorry, my bad on the terrible call there.
yeah.
I think it's just
Firelight just
Shock Orb is the name of his E. It's something stupid.
Um, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
What is Arcana Pulse? Is that his Q?
Arcana Pulse is the Q, and right of the Arcane's the ult. Got those. Those are the important ones. But yeah.
Zydak still playing towards this top side, so Tendies needs to be a little bit worried here. He kind of lost wave control. Oven Johnson's just autoing, he could have that slow push into him and set up the gank, but
Yeah.
either
And
way, Zydak's here.
yeah, Tendy's kiting back away, but he's got Zydak in his back pocket. They're gonna pop the Ornn ultimate.
Oh!
Didn't get the knockup. Tendies gets the stun
Oh!
underneath turret. The heal comes through from Oven Johnson, and that's what's going to keep Zydak alive. But they find the kill onto Tendies. That's a big shutdown. Going to Oven Johnson might help them equalize just a little bit. But now Iron Spike Whip finished up for Tendies. He's headed toward those double item completions, and that's when he's going to be a monster.
Yeah, definitely. But getting that kill's pretty good here. There's a lot of CS that's being lost underneath the turret, so Tendies, a little bit less of an XP lead, a little bit less of a CS lead. You know, means that Zydak, for all the time that he expended in top lane, is finally able to get something back here. And it's just a shame for ROTM that Tendies wasn't able to weather the storm while the rest of his team's not on that side of the map. And the rest of his team not able to get much for it. It's just a lot of pressure that kind of goes to waste there.
Yeah, they're going to
But
grab
Dragon's
this.
spawning.
Yeah, they'll grab the Dragon Side Scuttle. It's up in 10 seconds, and they have better positioning right now. Tendies doesn't have teleport, but Oven Johnson does. So they have to be careful about that exact timing. Tendies will be up. Uh, that's like 30 seconds. It's a decent chunk of time still left on that teleport cooldown.
RTM's starting it, so Tendies needs to be applying pressure onto Oven Johnson to stop his teleport, or he just needs to run down right now, and RTM has to stall for like 30 seconds. But stall they are not. They are just starting it.
Yeah, 2,000 health left. Loker trying to get the smite consume. He's got it available, but the fight gonna break out as Team Aquila. Zydak onto the backline. That's a big moonfall as he's trying to find. He separates Chels from the rest of the team. Only the one death would be fine as long as RTM's able to disengage. And Tendies is hanging around mid lane now. And yeah, teleport expended. It's the one kill for the dragon. That's not terrible as long as Firelight's fine, which looks like he should be.
Yeah, not the worst in the world, but Aquila doing a good taking advantage of RTM committing to the dragon just a little bit early. With the teleport disparity, just the long range engage there is able to net them the kill, and with that Rift Herald actually able to pick up nearly 4 plates bottom here is pretty massive.
Yeah, and they
Means
can
that
still.
Cogmod. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, they can still continue pressure. There's nothing that's going to force them off of this turret. So they'll grab that 4th plate as well. And yeah, it's a 2,000 gold lead now for Aquila off of that play. But the Dragon stack has started. The Mountain Soul in the sights now for ROTM.
Yep, definitely is. RTM's shining spot right now is here in the top lane where Tendies has a pretty massive lead. It just seems like everywhere else on the map where RTM tries to make a play, it's not going well. Zydak.
Yeah, Zydak
Oh.
looking for DTS, forces the flash back out, the double dash with the Lunar Rush. Ooh, even dashes out at the zap. Firelight and Loker looking for that re-engage wistfully in their sights. He gets the speed up from the Karma. The teleport coming in from One-Eyed Owl, and now the kite back away from ROTM. The teleport coming in from Tendies, though, to just try to stall everything out. Now it's
Oh
5v4.
no.
Oven Johnson cannot join, so this is just a straight 5v4 on the bottom side. Can Team Aquila weather the storm? Are they going to give too much? In comes the dive, potentially. They're in. A big ultimate from Zydax separates Tendies and Loker. They'll take down Loker. It's a killing spree for Wistfully. The Wind Slash isn't enough. The rocket just sails a little bit wide from DTS. And again, this bottom lane tower has been such an issue to dive for ROTM. And again, it goes wrong for them.
Yeah, that was actually just a sick play there from Zydak. He saw RTM committing just a little bit too hard. Loker and Tendies wanted to force the play. They'd used the Tendies teleport. They needed to look for something. They're just a little bit too far ahead of their team. The rest of the team not able to DPS with them means that Zydak just able to sneak in, get a massive ult off, and just stall RTM enough to pick up those kills. Really well played there by Team Aquila to counter the aggression here from RTM. And on the other side of the map, the first turret being grabbed by Oven Johnson is just so massive, considering he was absurdly far behind. Now completely even in gold with Tendies. So Aquila evening up where our team had a lead, and just so far ahead everywhere else. Playing very well right now.
Yep, if you're looking for a bright spot though for ROTM, it is still Tendies. He's got his Gore Drinker completed. He's got a bunch of CS in his pocket. He's still a strong man, but not as strong as he was just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, definitely. Still the potential for carrying fights. We've seen it a million times from Tendies. If he gets a little bit of a lead early, he could just be massive in these fights, able to find angles onto back lines around team fights and just pick up so much. But definitely our team has their work cut out for them as
Yeah,
the game goes on here.
I think the biggest issue though is Wistfully now with 3 kills on the Kog'Maw. He's scaled up massively, and DTS just doesn't have that in his pocket to answer. Zydak paying a lot of attention down here to the bottom side now, walking around the embankment, looking maybe for this dive onto DTS and Chels, but just gonna grab the ward and
Yeah.
ping pong some
And
waves back and forth.
BTS is going to be able to take a recall here. He has 2,000 gold in his pocket, so evening up the item disparity just a little bit, but he still is behind. Um, and within this team comp, it was sort of highlighted as our team needing to get some amount of a lead in the early game. And having a really strong mid game to close this game out. Because the longer this game goes on, the harder it is to kill this Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is going to out DTS your team if you don't kill him. So definitely a scary position here for ROTM, as I would expect in the next couple minutes they kind of need something to happen. Dragon spawning here in about 30 seconds. Dendy's doesn't have teleport again, so if they want to contest it, I'd like to see them walk him down early.
Yeah, Zydak gonna jump onto Loker though, initiate that. Absolute Zero is gonna do quite a bit of damage coming back through. It actually didn't do a whole lot. Zydak still has the stopwatch available. DTS just getting bursted down on the backside of that fight. So Loker falls right before the dragon spawns, and it's the reverse of the script that we saw in game number 1, where ROTM was grabbing picks right before important objective spawn. This time it's gonna be Team Aquila that does.
Exactly what I was gonna say is Aquila just yeah, doing just such a great job of finding that pick before the dragon spawns, before our team's able to set up for it. Means that they're gonna be able to pick that one up for free, no contest here from the side of RTM, which is the correct call. It just, kind of feels bad for them because this felt like a fight that they had to take, an angle that they had to make work for them to get back into this game. So right now, 4.5k gold is the lead here for Team Aquila. They're going to be picking up this bot turret as well. RTM still hasn't picked up one yet, so, this lead is only going to grow for Aquila.
Yeah, and even Wistfully and Cathaldus not going to overextend for this turret. Loker was waiting, maybe looking for a play down there, and there's just not a whole lot available for ROTM on the map right now.
Real quick, just take a peek at just the vision here in the river for Team Aquila. That's 4 different pink wards all set up, and that's the sort of vision that allowed them to get the pick in the first place onto Loker. You just really love to see stuff like that in the objective setup. Really well played here.
Yeah, so Herald going to be the focus for Zydak. They'll very quickly secure their 4th Herald of the series, none for ROTM. And,
Oh,
sorry?
Loker he just did a 900 damage consumed to take the blue buff right in front of Firelight. That was I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that was something. It's definitely something. Um, but yeah, oh, looks like Loker's looking for the
Yeah,
lane gank, the
Loker
biggest disco ball ever.
That's weird that it... I don't know if that's just a spectator glitch, that it goes invisible once he stops pushing it. I hope that that's not in the game, because that sounds not fun.
I mean, that's the new thing, right? That he always had troubles with going invisible well. Is Snowball is going. I don't think it's actually doing that for them, but he's
Yep.
looking again. This is about the 10th time we've seen this exact play.
Yeah, now looking for Cathaldus. It's going to be the teleport coming in, though, from One-Eyed Owl. They've got to get out. DTS is low. The Shockwave is good. It pulls in DTS and Chels. Wistfully is unstoppable as Zydak looking for Chels will finish her off underneath the turret. Finish off the turret as well. Another good counter punch from Team Aquila.
And again, it feels like we've seen that exact same play about 10 times this game, and it's never gone well for ROTM. It feels like they're feeling pressured, like they need to make something happen, and they keep pressuring up. They don't have the teleports to respond, and Aquila's just doing such a great job of
Yeah, they're even diving Loker. Wistfully is so strong. Gets a couple of autos down, and they'll finish off Loker. They'll continue pushing with this Rift Herald on the bottom side. Tendies is now finally able to recall on the top side, but Evan Johnson can maybe interrupt him with the ultimate from long range, and they'll grab the inhibitor turret here at 21 minutes. This game is blown wide open for Team Aquila. Teleport coming in from Tendies. This has to be a good moment for ROTM. He's looking for that engage onto Wistfully and One-Eyed Owl. He's forward. He finds one stun onto One-Eyed Owl. Wistfully dodging out, but he gets taken down by the right of the Arcane. Tendies looking forward. He'll find One-Eyed Owl. They'll get another shutdown. Now they're kiting back away. Zydak and Oven Johnson maybe looking for it. Tendies doesn't have the Wind Slash available, but can still push on forward. Finds a stun onto Oven Johnson. He's got a little bit of speed as he's zooming away. The Karma Shield's helping him out. So ROTM, their big investment there, finds them 2 kills, 2 shutdowns. I don't know that that's enough, though.
It'll be hard to see, but that kind of play is exactly what they need at this point. Something to stall up Aquila, something to slow them down just a little bit and get RTM some breathing room. Because that play where they just picked up 3 turrets in the bot side as well as the kills was just so massive that could have been, the nail in the coffin for this game. Yeah, no, it was a necessary counterattack. Whether it's enough will remain to be seen. It means that they won't have teleport for this dragon spawning in a minute, so RTM, like to see them walk Tendies down early again. He's going to need to get a reset. I imagine he has Black Cleaver in inventory. Yeah, he has it in his pocket, so
Yeah,
really needs to start a reset soon.
alternatively, they could just look to sack this dragon. It's only dragon number 2. While you'd love to continue to stack with your mid-game team composite, they're going to stack up. All right, well.
I don't know how they win this game if they give up this dragon. It's kind of my issue. Oh wow, so much damage. Like, if you give up the dragon, this game just gets stalled out longer and longer, and I just don't think that they can win that game.
Yeah, they need to wait for Tendies right now. A little bit of damage from the Arcano Pulse. They're going to pull in Loker, though. He might get picked again right before anybody's able to really fight with him. Trying to zoom away with the Phase Rush, but it's just not enough as he'll fall again to Wistfully. Zydak chasing down, looking for Chels. He has the speed boost from the Karma. He'll finish off with the Crescent Strike, and Firelight not going to find home with any of those Arcano, right of the Arcane barrages. And again, ROTM gets picked right before the dragon spawns, and it's going to be another Mountain Dragon going the way of Team Aquila.
Yeah, and RTM, Loker was just kind of in a precarious position, was a little bit further up, and Xerath and Jinx and Lulu, they can't really back you up if you get engaged on. Tendies getting pressured a little bit, but he is riven.
Tendies looking for it. Cathaldus is low. He gets exhausted, though. Has to try to dive back out, and he'll fall to Zydak. Another counter punch again. They're just surviving our Team Aquila, but it's up 15-4, and the snowball is maybe not as big as you would expect given that kill disparity.
Yeah, and that's the type of play that it kind of feels like you have to make because the game just it feels like it's going further and further behind here for ROTM, and just from a composition standpoint, Aquila doesn't need to end this game, in 5 minutes. They don't need to end it in 10 minutes. The longer this game goes on, the better it is for their team composition. So, even if the gold lead's only 5K, it's actually just so massive right now just because of the team composition differences. Um, yeah, exhaust is just a little bit too broken. Stopping
Oh
Tendies
no,
from getting the big
Chels
play.
in a lot of
Oh.
trouble, has to use the wild growth. Zydak
Oh!
continuing on. She survived for quite a bit of time underneath that turret, but it just doesn't
I-
matter as Zydak finishes her off.
Definitely surprised with how long she survived there.
Oh, Tendies is just straight walking in. Does he
Uh,
have the right of the arcane over the top? Tendies still scrapping out, able to dodge out of the back of the fight. Loker hitting the absolute zero. They're trying anything that they can in this jungle, but the 4v5 engage from Tendies is not going to pay off as Loker falls.
yeah, and Tendies did a lot there, did a lot of damage, survived a long time, was able to get out, but there's nobody there, and our team's just so far behind that it doesn't mean anything. It's the type of play that if the whole team's there, maybe that turns this around. Maybe that's enough, but just in this situation, it's not, and it means that with no jungler, Aquila's just going to be able to pick this Baron up for free. We'll see how much they're able to get for it. I imagine that they'll just take a reset and then just run straight up mid. That turret's getting pretty low, and our team doesn't have a whole lot of engage options, so wouldn't be surprised to see it. Actually, a few people running bot, maybe trying to pick off Tendies here. No, not going to be the case at the moment, but yeah, that Baron just, it's so hard to see a fight that our team comes out on top now. In a perfect world, maybe you get a pick. I don't know who you're picking, and I don't know how you're picking them, but maybe Tendies picks up a stopwatch and jumps in the back line and just takes Kog'Maw's and Karma's time forever, and the rest of our team's able to DPS enough to somehow kill this 3-item Ornn. I don't know. It's hard. It's
Yeah,
really
it
hard at this point.
it feels like the biggest issue is that DTS hasn't been able to get involved in a lot of these fights. It's been Tendies and Loker, scrapping on the front line. Firelight can at least contribute as ultimate, but DTS has been well and truly zoned or just not quite in the area for the fights, and
And
that's been what's cost them, I think.
I think the issue is that our team is kind of the aggressors here because they have to make the play. So the battle line is so far up that DTS isn't able to walk up and help out, for fear of Diana or Orianna just one-shotting you. It's just so difficult to actually walk up and DPS in these fights. It really just feels like a team comp div right now. Tendies is splitting, so applying some pressure here in the side lane though. Aquila pushing up mid. We'll see.
Yeah, they're going to pop
Oh.
the Hammerboy bouncy time, get a knock-up as they're looking for the dive. Oven Johnson just tanking everything up. Loker gets the speed boost to get out to safety, but they're sacking this tower in exchange for the tower in the top lane. Inhibitor for tier 2 tower isn't the best trade in the world, but it's the one that they're going to have to take right now at 28 minutes.
I think the most important thing is that it is a trade. Our team is getting
Oh,
something
Zydak,
back.
though, the Moonfall, that's so much damage. They take down Firelight. The flash forward from Wistfully. He's got a double kill. Zydak finishes off another. DTS forced to flee, and Tendi's teleporting into the Nexus turret just to try to stop the bleeding. The counter teleport from Oven Johnson, though, is going to rejoin them as 5. It's 5v2 on the map, and Team Aquila have the Baron buff minions. It looks like they'll be able to finish off game number 2 here. Can Tendies and DTS find the miracle defense? He's exhausted as he goes in. It looks like no. That's just no.
Yeah, an attempt was made, but I think that Aquila just did such a great job of countering every single aggressive play that our team tried to make on the bot side of the map. We saw it 3, 4, 5 times. Aquila just did such a great job of stopping it and making sure that our team wasn't able to pick up a lead. And once you hit that mid game with that team comp, it's just so hard for our team to actually contest. Really well played there by Team Aquila.
Yeah, Firelight with 1 kill compared to the 0 from DTS is going to win him the bet,
Oh, god damn
unfortunately.
it.
But yeah, that's going to set us up for an ace match, game number 3 here. So we'll be back in just a minute or two with with game number 3. You won't want to miss it. Team Aquila and ROTM down to the wire. All right, we've got the 2 supports and us. Let's go. Oh, unlucky.
Unlucky.
Here comes everybody else. Oh, they're just all here and ready. Jeez.
They ready? Did they start?
No, they're just like, oh, they weren't even in order. I just saw 10 people in the lobby in roughly right order.
Yeah, no. Our team, is just kind of slowly coming in, and now they're maneuvering their way. I think that you can really tell the caliber of a team just by how quickly they're able to get in order, and how efficiently they're able to. Well, Firelight left, so we're kind of striking out.
Hopefully he comes back.
That'd be nice,
Otherwise, you're gonna have to step in for mid.
I mean, then they're fucking doomed. I mean, my ace was kind of cracked, but in a different game, so I don't think I'd be able to do it in League. I'm sure there's a mid laner I could int on. I could probably play like Orianna or maybe Renekton.
Not gonna bring out the Yone.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes Yone requires you have hands, and I do not have hands. I feel like long range, press as little buttons as possible, or melee, jump in and press as little buttons as possible. So like if we're able to get a good Renekton matchup, I feel like that would be the angle.
I recently discovered that if you hit the power button on your monitor, it actually displays things. So that was a revelation for me.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's massive. I hadn't considered that. That would make a pretty big difference. Oh, maybe I need to come back to League. Maybe that's the extra bit I needed to actually break into Masters.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need that when you're playing LOR, but...
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, I have it up on my phone, so I can see it there. But yeah, no, just having my monitor, that's an angle right there. They definitely take their max time in between games, huh? They do their stretches, they go pee, talk it out.
They really do be making me stay up late.
Yeah. I do think getting up and doing stretches between games is like, secret OP. I gotta keep that blood flowing. Oh, looks like they're ready.
All right. Well. Whew. All right. Welcome in. Game number 3. Picks and bans between Return of the Middlesticks and Team Aquila. Winner of this match is going to advance to the semifinals. Loser is done for the season. So, everything on the line here. I have to sneeze.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. And after, an extremely close game number 1, a game 2 where, our team had a pretty significant advantage in the early game, but, kind of kept trying to force plays, and Aquila's able to weather the storm and then get a lead for themselves. Game number 3, see who's able to come out on top, as already the bans coming through. Irelia and Gwen being taken away. Notably, Morgana is open. So we'll see if that. Ivern also was another champion that Aquila had banned every game so far, and is open here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a jungle first pick. Yeah, Varus actually is also open too. There's a lot of champions, a lot of changes. Oh yeah, there's the Varus lock-in. Pog. So that should mean that Aquila has their first selection at a jungler, and actually just opting for the Cog Lulu, so just running back the protect the 80 carry composition that was so effective for them in the last game. The scaling was just pretty massive for them, and just wanting to run that back.
Sorry,
Potentially
I'm
being
just,
combined with like a Morgana jungle could be really scary.
I'm just dying over here. No big deal. But
Yeah.
Cog Lulu very scary. Doesn't have that same effectiveness from the huge speed boost from Karma that we saw. I think that was a kind of unsung hero from game number 1, was just the amount of movement speed that they were able to get from the Karma pick. Just a single target movement speed from the Lulu, and it'll be the Nami lock-in for Chels.
Yeah, so a pretty strong lane here. Varus and Nami are both, pretty strong in the early game, are very much able to bully Kog'Maw and Lulu. So RTM wanting the advantage there, and then the Camille lock-in for RTM means that Aquila gets the counter pick. Yeah, we had assumed that that's top lane Camille.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised in current year to see it go anywhere else. But RTM, just having the confidence to lock it in this early in the draft, so they know what they want.
Yeah, it feels like they're putting a very obvious target on having Camille Galio. So I can't imagine that this isn't banned or picked.
Yeah, the issue is that there's, 2 picks and 2 bans between Camille and your next pick. So I'd say it's pretty unlikely that Galio makes it through. But if it does, Galio Camille, pretty good combo.
Yeah.
We'll see what kind of bans Aquila wants to target here. Jungle still pretty well unattacked. Neither team has selected one, and no ban.
That's a no ban. Yeah.
Through. Pog.
Oh, Galio ban. Galio ban. They say in the chat. So the no ban, I guess, is Galio.
Yeah, I think Galio ban makes a lot of sense. Twisted Fate was the other roaming mid laner we had seen Firelight have a lot of success on last week, so I think that those bans make a lot of sense. I think that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Orianna Morgana also very sensible, if you will.
Especially Orianna. Orianna just continues to set up this Kog'Maw to be able to carry team fights, but Victor, less supportive, but still does a lot of damage. It's a very classical team comp from Aquila, coming together really strongly. So RTM, we'll see what type of identity they want to go with here. Already a little bit of strength in the early game. We'll see if they try and snowball off of it. Oh yeah, Silas kind of firmly locks you into this mid-game plan, right?
Yeah, the Silas for Firelight, we saw him do pretty well in game number 1. This again, game 1, it felt like Team Aquila got a little bit cute with their flex picks, right? Their kind of 3-way setup that they had going on toward that top triangle, and once they went to more of a standard front-to-back team comp, they had just an outstanding amount of success. And now the Zac is going to be the lock-in for Loker. Oh, not necessarily. I don't want to. I'll leave you with that. Well, we'll see. But this last pick for Team Aquila, we'll see what they want to answer with. They're missing a jump.
Yeah. So Rumble would fit this composition really well, I think. Maybe something frontliney, maybe anything at all. Kayn, okay. Kayn has a pretty good matchup into Zac.
Yeah.
If that's the matchup. Definitely clears pretty quickly, is able to cancel him out of just about everything, beats him at most points of the game. So I think that, again, Aquila just has a very traditional front to back. We have the big boys in front, we have the CC, we have, the DPS, we have the scaling, very much just classic. RTM, though, it really feels like they're indexing for this, 12 to 22 minute part of the game where they're just trying to get in there with the skirmishes and come out with a lead. It feels like that's kind of what they need to do. They've sort of drafted themselves into the same win condition as last game where they have to get a lead, and they have to make something happen. Yeah. And, with a lot of engaged, Camille and Zach definitely engage pretty well. The issue, though, Camille into Lulu doesn't feel great. If you're ever trying to jump on a backline and you just eat a polymorph, you eat the wild growth, this can be a little bit sad. So I like the draft I like the Zac as a diving buddy, to make sure that Lulu doesn't only have to polymorph one person. But at the same time, I just don't know if there's enough damage pressure to actually kill Lulu or kill Kog'Maw through just the amount of support that they have.
Sorry, we're I'm putting together a prediction. We're gonna flip it because it seemed like it jinxed our boys last game, so this time, yeah, One-Eyed Owl or Wistfully, who's gonna have more kills?
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And the composition very much enable the Wistfully comp, right?
Yeah.
But Victor does a lot of damage, can take a lot of these kills because nobody's really targeting Victor in these fights, right? Kog'Maw is the big target. Kayn is going to be the big person who's taking up a lot of the attention of RTM. So I think that there's a chance that One-Eyed Owl just kind of flies under the radar, puts out a shitload of DPS, and just becomes a problem and just kills everyone. So, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, a lot of people thinking Wistfully. I don't necessarily blame them. But yeah, team comp set. I was hyping up. Firelight's been playing Zac mid in solo queue. Outside chance that it was the Sylas jungle Zac mid, but
Potentially. But see, the issue with that is that you're stuck playing Sylas jungle.
Yeah.
And the Kayn, Sylas never had much fun clearing the jungle as it is. And if you're just going to get outpaced forever by Kayn, that doesn't sound like a fun matchup or a fun thing to play, but there's the potential there. One thing is, when you're playing Victor in the mid lane against a champion like Zac, you don't have a lot of ways to get away, right? It could be very scary to try and exist, because that can engage from a long ways away and lock you down for a long time.
yeah. Well, 3 more minutes and we'll get to see these two team comps go at it. A lot of CC available for ROTM. A lot of I don't want to say fight control because they're not looking for like a big 5v5 team fight, I think, against this, Kog'Maw, Lulu, Ornn composition. But the ability for any single person to start a fight just sets up a huge CC chain, and it means that they can find picks, they can do interesting things. Whereas, again, it's just a classical front-to-back team composition with a little bit of spice in that Kayn for Zydak, but he's had a really good series. The Viego game in the loss was pretty good, but the Diana game was fantastic in game number 2.
Definitely. And one thing that, just looking at these team comps, I think that Camille and Zac, they do very similar things to like Ornn and Kayn within a team fight. One of them's the big tanky initiator with CC. The other one's just diving the backline and creating space or doing a lot of damage. I think that the big difference in these compositions is just in that bot lane, where RTM's opted for Varus and Nami, who are very strong in the early game, have a lot of damage and can really pressure, but don't scale quite as well. Whereas, the Kog'Maw Lulu, a little bit weaker in the early game, but, once you hit that mid game, it's hard to come up with a bot lane duo that's able to take control of fights more than Kog'Maw and Lulu. So I think that, once we start looking at this, the really big people to watch is to see if DTS is able to set things up with the Chain of Corruption in these mid-game fights, or if Tendies is able to just be so massive that he's just one-shotting people. Because those are kind of the big win conditions, I think, for this ROTM comp.
Yeah, well, 1 minute left in our spectator delay. Game number 3. Winner's going to advance to the semifinals to face the winner of Glue Eaters and Cal Blue. I love some of these team names. And I'm pretty sure we'll be on the Unified Esports stream next week as well, because they've been on the bottom side of the bracket thus far. So I think they'll flip to the top. So that'll be pretty exciting for whichever team gets that opportunity. We're down to it. Let's see if ROTM can rebound after what was a pretty crushing game number 2 defeat, or if we're just gonna see more of the same from Team Aquila.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting. And with these 15 seconds left in the loading screen, we know that these two teams load in very quickly, so won't have much to breathe before. It should be a pretty exciting game here.
Yep. So take your deep breath now. They're in the chat, and maybe grab some water real quick. Hopefully the fridge isn't too far.
Yeah.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Look at you, rich boy over here with water in your fridge. Imagine not just drinking tap.
So it's tap water. I just put it in water bottles and then get it out of the fridge because it's colder.
Okay.
So I
kind of put ice in my water bottle and then fill it with tap water.
Yeah, I really like at work we have like an actual water thing that you get it from.
Like a cooler? Like a water cooler?
Yeah. Yeah.
The big fucking thing with like
it doesn't have like
jug?
the bubbler. It's just like a purifier, but it's it's some good shit. You got to get that clean water. Yeah, this is a delayed invade on the bottom. Well, it's not even delayed at all. This is just straight the 3-man invade on the bottom side. They're going to grab that vision on the red buff. This is the exact same plan that we've seen in the first 2 games, just flipped from Team Aquila.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, RTM didn't get the responding ward on the other side of the map, so Zydak not going to be found out. RTM not going to know where he starts out, but Firelight getting that early ward means he hits level 2 on the first wave. Potentially a swinger in this matchup. Yeah, always love to see that. The adaptation to start the sweeper this game to pick up that XP. Oh, but they're lining up for maybe a late invade. With Kane, this could be really strong. Zach is useless at level 1, so I really like this from Aquila. We'll see how much they're able to get.
Yeah, in comes the 4-man squad from Aquila on that invade toward the red buff. They might just steal away the Raptors and call it a day. This is a very LPL invade. If he hits level 2, he can come over the wall at Loker.
Smite it.
Oh yeah, there he is, level 2.
He's gonna take it.
He's got smite. He's in level 2. He steals the red buff, and Loker's in so much trouble. He flashes backward, but there's Wistfully there just to get some autos down. Cathaldus is separated just a little bit. DTS gets a lot of damage in trade, but Zydak has got what he came for. The late invade on the red buff. That's such an LPL invade. I really like that from Aquila.
The stupid fucking solo queue G's invade from Kane where he starts your raids, does them faster than you, and just walks over the wall and smites away your red buff. It's so doomed if you're the Zach. Because you can't even counter invade, right? You have to be low before you clear anything well. Kane is taking your golems. You're so far behind. What a way to start out this game, as Zydak is very much ahead. Oh no, an RTM spotlight's gonna get ganked.
Yeah, Zydak he's level 3 to the level 1 for Chels and DTS. A lot of damage down onto Chels. The flash forced on DTS. They stay alive for the time being, but now bullied off of that wave, they have to be really careful about the return gank from Zydak. And this is opening up Tendies to pressure off Oven Johnson, but I don't think that they care. Oven Johnson is very much, you're playing weak side, you're playing Ornn, and he just has to accept that this game.
This was basically a vertical jungle set up here by Zydak and Aquila. And the big thing here is that the bot lane of RTM is getting punished for pressuring.
Wait, Tendies
Oh,
is just tanking up turret. He's looking for it. The ignite isn't enough. Oven Johnson, he's gonna die maybe. Yeah, the stretching strike from Loker finishes him off, but that's not the trade that you want. You want that kill on Tendies early on.
yeah, and it's just it's so bad for ROTM. That is their strong side. So being able to pick that up is good. It's just a 1-for-1 as opposed to on the other side of the map. Kane burnt both the summoners off of DTS, and this is the bot lane that we highlighted has to be the ones that are pressuring, has to be pushing, has to be taking advantage because they get hard outscaled. It's just such an intelligent start here from Aquila to split the map.
Yeah, it
Yeah, and
seems like their prep just a little bit stronger coming into the series. They've had good early games in all 3 games, and now it's up to ROTM to stabilize and try to find some safety, try to find that scaling into the mid game where they are so
oh,
dangerous.
Zydak's gonna find Loker here on the raids. Zydak actually took so long that he didn't even try to contest his top side. And most importantly, he didn't get taken advantage of for it. He's not going to lose his red buff. He's still 2 camps up.
Firelight's just
Oh,
continuing to scrap up, flashes out of the gravity well, now onto Zydak with that Abscond and Abduct. Looking for Loker to
oh,
turn that one around. Zydak has to flash out. Very respectful from the Kane. The stretching strike gonna blop him into a minion, but it doesn't really matter. Now Tendies still continuing the pressure, doesn't have his Ignite available importantly, so Oven Johnson can take these trades a little bit more aggressively up in the top lane.
yeah, but the issue is that Zydak is just so far ahead of Loker. Already 2 camps. This is his second red buff. Thankfully, Loker's going to be able to get the second spawn of his bot side camp. So, isn't like absurdly far behind in XP, but this early game is definitely going in Aquila's favor just because they have the superior scaling. Um, but top lane, Tendies has an advantage, right? That's the issue with splitting the map is that Tendies with Ignite isn't really getting taken advantage of yet. That said, his wave is slow pushing in, and Zydak's on that side of the map. Looks like he's going to look for a reset, not wanting to try to take too much advantage. Very much saying, Oven Johnson, you're on weak side. You just need to chill. You will get carried. Just don't end.
Yeah, DTS and Panda doing decently in the bottom lane though. They have a 10 CS advantage over Wistfully and Cathaldus. You'd like to see it start to, continue to extend over the Cog Lulu, but they're doing their job so far. Despite the flash being blown on DTS, it's not doomed. Like the big advantage for Aquila is the
Oh,
jungle, which has been kind of the series so far. Nice sidestep though from One-Eyed Owl on that stretching strike. Um,
yeah.
but
I think that.
these side
Ooh,
lanes going all right. Firelight just going to drop that Chaos Storm on top of One-Eyed Owl. He's taken pretty low, but there's just no mana left for Firelight to continue his fight. So getting
yeah.
a positive trade, Zydak and Cathaldus going to go ahead and duo up this dragon, kind of against the run of play right now. And given the shoving bottom in mid lane, Zydak is pretty low, getting slowed up by that ocean dragon. Loker going to walk in and take this fruit right in front of them, but Zydak maybe going to look to collapse the stretching, or the elastic slingshot, excuse me, going to get him out to safety. So they kind of picked their pocket with that first dragon, due Team Aquila.
Yeah, yeah, Aquila just taking full advantage of Looker showing in that mid lane, helping shove in for Firelight, because Firelight was just completely out of mana. He needed the help with it. And Aquila just taking full advantage. One thing I was going to say is, even though Zydak was able to burn both the summoners off of DTS and sort of hurt what should have been the strong lane for ROTM, uh, he hasn't been back down there to take advantage of it. DTS now has both of his summoners back up. He's up 17 CS, so despite that early pressure, hasn't been punished. So still looking pretty good here for ROTM. It's not as scary as it could have been off of this start.
Um,
Yeah, Psyduck is pathing away from them, so they're going to be able to pressure down there for a while.
as a Kane aficionado, is this a red Kane game with the Conqueror and
Probably.
the thing that he's got the Iron Spike Whip?
So against the triple melee comp of ROTM, you probably want the knockup. You don't really need extra damage. You have Victor Kog'Maw. I think Red Kane's fine. Um, I mean, the thing is, you could take Blue Kane, and you could try and just blow this entire game out by diving bottom 3 times in a row, between like 9 minutes and 14 minutes. But he just doesn't need to do that, right?
Oh, Tendies, that's not the best trade in the entire world, but He's going to grab a back. He's got his teleport available. Has to be careful, though. Zydak swinging wide around. Oh, he
Oh no,
canceled
he
his
canceled.
recall. This
Oh.
might be devastating for him. He jumps in using that Hextech ultimatum to buffer, has the hook shot available, and he'll get out to safety. So Tendies navigates that gank. Zydak not quite able to pop his ultimate
Yeah.
and jump inside with the Umbral Trespass.
It felt like Zydak kind of misplayed that. He could have followed uh
They might
the
just look for
E.
the dive, though. Although Loker is here, he's spotted Zydak. They'll get the knock up on the turret. Oven Johnson still continuing to tank this one up. Tendies flashes
Oh!
forward, but the barrier from Oven Johnson off of the Unsealed Spellbook is going to be enough. Loker is low, getting trespassed upon, and they'll grab the Zac passive and get out. So that's a worthwhile dive. Zydak, what are you doing, Zydak? Oh, he got him! All right, well, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, the big thing about Kane is that he's able to take advantage of Zach Bloblets pretty well, but it just felt like a misplay there from the side of ROTM. Loker just completely whiffed on his abilities, and without the CC, as soon as Tendies engages, he just turns around and gets one shot. Just a missed opportunity. It feels like they thought that they were in the advantageous position, but just aren't able to come out on top on that fight.
Yeah,
Means that.
Firelight getting traded upon by One Night Owl in the mid lane. Bottom lane going all right still for DTS and Chels, but 400 gold lead right now for Aquila. It's a it's reasonable early on. I like some of these pickups. What do you think about the early Oblivion Orb for One Night Owl?
Um, it seems reasonable. You're against the Zac, you're against the Silas, you're against Nami. There's a lot of healing to be taken care of. I think that the big thing is the Silas, just making sure he's not able to have an insane mid-game team fight around a dragon where he just heals forever. I don't hate it. It seems fine. Again, you're playing to scale, so anything that keeps the other team from just winning the game before you're scaled, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yep, Tendi's going to jump onto this Rift Herald. He might be spotted by a ward, though. Has to be a little bit careful as, Tendi's walking back around. This is kind of a scary moment. Yeah, he's going to be spotted by that ward in the Pixel Brush, and we'll see if Zydak wants to respond to this Herald play for Loker.
And he's actually like hugging it enough that the pixel brush doesn't see him, but it does see Firelight roaming up, and Firelight didn't stop to clear the pink, so should be able to pick that up.
Yeah,
Oh,
Zydak is in.
actually,
Loker, oh, he gets the smite down. So Loker will pick up the Herald, but in comes the Orin Horn, gets the big knock-up. Loker trying to kite back out, but Firelight is going to be the first victim of the fight. Tendi's continuing to scrap out, uses the Hextech ultimatum, but he gets trespassed in. It's a double kill for Zydak, and Firelight now gets reaping slashed. Zydak has his red cane available. Oh, he didn't want to hit that chain, but he burns down to red buff anyway. Triple kill for Zydak in exchange for the Rift Herald. Oh, Chain
the
of
big
Corruption
thing is,
under tower. They just don't have any damage to follow up.
but the big thing in that fight was just that Zydak, with the red cane, is just so much stronger than Loker at this point in the game. They don't have the damage to actually deal with him. He's able to just heal through everything. And with the percent max HP damage, he just absolutely destroys the Zac. This is why it's not a good jungle matchup for Zac to deal with at all. And ROTM, despite picking up the Rift Herald, lose a lot of kills there. It's very scary for them because right now Zydak is just massive. And this Camille that you were kind of hoping gets ahead, kind of needing to have a strong mid game, is very far behind at this moment. And in a matchup where she kind of wants to hit 2 items within the context of the game. I just don't know if that's going to be, soon enough to actually matter.
And that sucks too. With the Sunfire Cape pickup, the damage type is actually swung to magic damage on the passive for Camille. That actually makes trading just so much harder against the Ornn. I don't know if it'll swing back anytime soon, because Ornn does do significantly more physical damage. Okay, there's physical shield. That feels a little bit better. I was really worried there seeing that magic damage shield, because that sucks.
Yeah. Looks like Aquila just going to be able to take this dragon completely uncontested. Our team's bot lane was on reset, and at this point in the game, they don't want to fight. This Kane is up 50 CS. He's 4-1-1. He's just so absurdly strong. Even picked up the tier to start stacking a Mura mana. He's just so scary. And RTM once again selected a composition that needed to get strong earlier mid game and make something happen. And so far, that hasn't been the case. Even in this bot lane where they had a pretty good CS lead in the early game, now just almost completely evened up. This Kog'Maw being down 10 CS in this matchup is feeling pretty good.
Yeah, Oven
Oh,
Johnson even pushing Tendies off of the wave, making sure that he can't recall. That's so annoying. And, no summoner spells available, so this is going to be a long walk back while he's already down XP.
and he's actually sticking around. Zydak's coming though. Oh no, this could be disastrous as they're gonna be diving Tendies.
Yeah, Tendies gets the shield, hops onto the Orin, trying to hook shot away, but gets stuck on the wall. Really nice, clean dive there from Team Aquila. And they're looking so strong up on this top side.
The big thing is just the communication between Oven Johnson and Zydak to say, hey, I'm canceling his recall. Come up here. He cannot leave this wave. Otherwise, he's just so absurdly far behind forever. And just taking full advantage of it. Ooh. And you can see the pressure that RTM's under. Like, they feel like they need to make a play. They need to make something happen. You see DTS throw out the ultimate to see if he can get a cheeky catch with the Chain of Corruption, but just not able to find its target there means that Aquila's just pretty well.
Yeah, Loker in a lot of trouble, though, as he's getting aggressed upon by Zydak. The bot lane sliding in here, they don't really have a numbers advantage on the side of the map, so it's just going to be Zydak still continuing to look for more. DTS taking a bad trade there, is wistfully going through it with him on the Bioarcane Barrage. Loker bouncing around, trying to get that Conqueror stacked up so he can fight Zydak off. Gets the heal from Panda Chells. The Nami Wave not really doing a whole lot. The Umbral Trespass takes Zydak into the backline, and DTS now stuck underneath tower, trying to kite away from this Kayn. Ornhorn comes through to knock him up, and Tendies gets a big shutdown onto Zydak.
It's a pretty massive swing there. Zydak hard committed for some reason. He had already gotten out, but went back in to try and kill DTS and just wasn't able to find it. Means he gives over 850 gold to a Camille who is very far behind. And it's those types of plays that gives ROTM a way back into this game. Because as Kayn, very much your power is in tempo. And right now, he was very far ahead in XP, in CS, and, was kind of ahead of the whole game. But if you die a couple times, then suddenly you're not as far ahead, and your champion kind of relies on that.
Yeah, Loker looking for the engage in mid lane, not able to find that strike onto Wistfully. DTS is actually really strong. He's got his Prowler's Claw available. He'll have a lot of lethality to try to punch through Cathaldus and Wistfully. You can see that even starting to stack up. That was, not even a very charged piercing arrow. The Chain of Corruption going to land into the volley of arrows, and Cathaldus forced to use the Lulu ultimate in order to survive that engagement. Firelight just scrapping away with Oven Johnson. These isolated lanes, do you like the Camille into the Victor a little bit better now than the, armor stacked up Oven Johnson?
I think that at this point 3 items, there's no way Camille can ever actually deal with Ornn. And Ornn has very little MR. I think it makes sense to swap them out. Camille can definitely pressure Victor. If Victor walks up a little bit too far, he could end up getting taken advantage of. Especially since Victor went into the Oblivion Orb early, right? Silas doesn't want to actually lane into him. Oh, but Camille's here.
Yeah, Camille's here. They're looking for the pick onto Oven Johnson. Use the Hextech Ultimatum. The exhaust coming down onto Tendies, though. Trying to buy enough time. The ultimate coming out. Oven Johnson's going to fall. It's a shutdown for Firelight. But in comes Zydak as he's got the Blade's Reach available. Loker trying to shade in. He's going to jump onto Zydak. Oh, not quite jump onto Zydak. Going to get hit by the Blade's Reach. Tendies is here to try to help him out. This is a little bit bad as he jumps into Loker. Gets the Umbral Trespass. Has the Let's Bounce to try to get some CC. Zydak stuck maybe on the wrong side. The teleport coming in from Firelight. They're really investing to try to finish off Zydak, but he just walks through the wall. Loker jumping forward, not quite able to find him. He gets one kill, but the counter kill comes through for Firelight. He's picked up 2 in the last couple of minutes. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the rift, though, Victor's been able to split push down a tower. So, Dragon spawning here in 5 seconds. The teleport coming in from Oven, or that's a One-Eyed Crow, or One-Eyed Owl, excuse me. They're going to jump onto this Infernal Dragon. This will set them up for Soul Point in 5 minutes if they're able to secure it. But in come the boys from ROTM. Firelight looking in. Hits the Victor ultimate, not quite able to find that Abduct. He's stuck inside of this. The Chaos Storm just raining hell down upon him. But they'll find one counter kill. 1 for 1 as Tendi's going to jump forward. Cathaldus is low. Not quite finished off, though. The red buff ticking her down, but not Gonna finish that one off. Tendy's walking forward wistfully, gets the
Oh,
wild growth. He can't find the stun, and instead it's gonna be Chels that's forced back. It's just Chels and Loker trying to finish this one off, but I don't think they're gonna be able to contest. The Dragon going to go over to Team Aquila.
the health bar so incredibly low for Aquila. Tendies was almost able to take down both of the bot lane members, but the exhaust able to just barely let them walk away. And ROTM were in a position where they could have gotten a foothold back into this game, but unfortunately just a little bit distinct on their engages. Firelight was just a little bit too far forward without the backup, and then Tendies is pushing the back line all alone. It's just not quite, in sync there. Means that Quill is able to come out on top, and if this Kog'Maw wasn't scary before, he is now after picking up, the kill in that team fight, the assist, as well as that dragon.
DTS
Just gonna
walking
be able
forward
to
into
spend.
Wistfully. He needs the help. Where is Loker? Loker took so long to fly in. Now gets the stretching strike. Has the let's bounce down onto Cathaldus. Cathaldus gets the little shield. Firelight trying to collapse from the side. Loker finishes that one off. Meanwhile, Tendy's looking for Oven Johnson. The flash over the wall, though, from the Orin. Zydak has joined the fray as he gets snared up by Firelight on this side. They're just kiting back and forth. The Umbral Trespass from Silas comes in, but the counter Umbral Trespass into Loker. Zydak is low, but the Ornhorn flies through. It hits 3. That was huge from Oven Johnson. On the top side of the fight, though, Tendy's finishes off the Kog'Maw, trying to kite back away. The passive does a lot of damage. He's trying to heal back up just a little bit, kiting back around, but there's towers available. The tower shot isn't going to finish him off. Chels is dead, though. Zydak will finish her on the top side. Just let her die to the minions. That's a little BM. That feels necessary, though. I have no way to take stock of that fight. That was very all over the place.
Looked like ROTM had a shot at getting back into it there, but just the amount of stall that this Kane is able to do, he stacks up the Conquer, he heals so much, and ROTM doesn't have a whole lot of burst, doesn't have the anti-healing, doesn't have anything to stop him. So he's able to just survive forever. A massive Ornhorn comes back through on the re-engage, and Aquila is just very firmly ahead now. The gold lead says 3.5K, but again, with these compositions, it's bigger than that. It's so massive. These 3 stacked dragons, it's very scary for ROTM. Oh, the Baron has just started.
Yeah, they drop the Rift Herald in mid lane. They start up the Baron. They have so much vision control over this blue side jungle. Look at what our team is walking into right now. They're leaving Sheila alone, but can they even get to this in time? 5,000 health. Firelight sees them. He's going to grab an ultimate. Tendy's jumping onto the backside of the fight. He's onto One-Eyed Owl. Hits the Hextech ultimatum. Looking for the kill. He'll finish that one off thanks to a piercing arrow from DTS. He'll fall on the top side, though. Loker just buying time. Gets split into the bloblets. Firelight can't look for the re-engage. Where is the bottom lane right now? They're trapped on the top side, trying to kite away from Zydak, but the Blades reaches there. Zydak heals up so much with that, and it's falling apart for ROTM. Chels trying to kite out, but there's nowhere for her to go. It's a double kill for Zydak. The Rift Herald is just wailing away on the mid lane turret through all of this, and now they'll be able to start back on this Baron, and there's no contest available for Return to the Middlesticks.
And the big difference is that Tendies was able to get onto One-Eyed Owl, and they were able to take him down, but Zydak came over the wall. He was able to kill Tendies and then just 1v2 the bot lane for so long. Just completely making sure they weren't able to participate in the fight. He's just so massive at this point. Our team can't deal with him. The rest of the team just can't deal with him. Able to stall it out long enough for Aquila to win the other side of the fight, come over, help out, and then pick up the Baron. They're so far ahead. ROTM had a shot at in that fight, but Zydak's just so hard to deal with. With that Baron off the reset, we'll see how much they're able to get. Again, they don't really have to end the game on this push. The most important thing is just getting more pressure around the map, getting more gold.
Loker just walking directly into Oven Johnson. He had the sweeper available, saw him, and still opted in for that fight. So that was kind of interesting.
Minute left on this dragon, so both teams want to set up positioning around it. Oh, RTM maybe looking for a catch. If they're able to find something, it could help them out, but what they're looking, it looks like they're just trying to find something right now.
They're trying to set up vision control. This is a scary moment for them. This is the season on the line. Firelight walking in, not able to find a whole lot. He's got the Lulu ult, forced to use it now. Tendy's into the backline. They get the stun. They get wistfully down. They take down the Kog'Maw. Firelight falls, though, to One-Eyed Owl. On the backside, though, Zydak is just tearing through everything. It's Tendy's and DTS still alive. One-Eyed Owl getting low. Tendy's on top of him. The flash forward for the Chain of Corruption misses, and DTS gets taken down for the triple kill. One-Eyed Owl finds the quadra kill with the power transfer, and it's an ace for Team Aquila, and that'll be the Infernal Soul as well.
Yeah, and this game just gets harder and harder. ROTM hadn't engaged, they looked for it. They were able to one-shot the Kog'Maw, but they just aren't strong enough at this point to actually be able to take down anyone else other than eventually the Lulu. One-Eyed Owl kites at the back of that fight forever, while Zydak just creates so much space and just kills so many people. He's just a massive part of this game. This Kane was just such a great pick, and then off of that level 1 play where they got him a massive lead, just has absolutely been taking advantage of it and not letting up. With this Infernal Soul, just gets that much harder for our team to deal with. This Baron is going to be timing out, so the actual pushing power of Aquila is definitely going down for the next couple minutes. So maybe our team could look for something, but right now it's just not looking good for them. Oh,
Yeah, trying to
Aquila's
stall
setting
out
up
on this
mid.
tower. It's so low. Tendy's is going to get knocked up. He tries to hookshot to the pillar, but gets stuck on it. He's got no flash. He'll go down as Wistfully finds his 4th kill of the game. And Aquila on the death march now. Zydak pops in over the wall. They get the knock up onto Chels. It's so much
Oh.
damage. DTS gets trespassed upon. He's down. Loker falling underneath the turret as well. A double kill for Zydak. He's had a huge series, and just continuing to exert his authority. Zydak now looking for Firelight. The 1v1 between the Kayn and the Sylas is a 2-level advantage for Zydak. Firelight hits the snare, but it just doesn't matter right now. The inhibitor going down in the mid lane. This is all that Team Aquila wants as they push in.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're actually able to end the game. They have a wave coming in, but 10 seconds left on most of the members of Rodham means that they won't be able to just push for the end, but picking up all of these camps, they're just going to extend their lead. It's so difficult to see how RTM is going to actually be able to come out on top of a fight. What does a fight even need to look like that RTM wins? Even trying to catch out Zydak, he stalls for so long that if you're able to engage on him, I don't know if you can actually kill him fast enough before the rest of his team shows up.
Yeah, it's going to take a
Ah,
monumental throw, I think, for ROTM to get back in it. I don't know that they have the outplay potential. I think it's just on Aquila to try to close this one out. Firelight is so low to those Krugs. Zydak might even find Loker here to start everything off. Although this might be the overextension. The bubble going to land. He has the wild growth. They'll jump onto Cathaldus. They finish him off. Zydak is going to trespass inside attendees. It's a little bit of healing coming up, and now in comes the Ornhorn to try to re-engage the fight. Zydak is just finished off Tendy's. He's just scrapping through. DTS hits the piercing arrow, but it just isn't enough damage. And now Chels and Loker trying to flee. They have no damage left, and Aquila will finish him off. A triple kill for Zydak. Firelight not even able to find Wistfully on the backside of this. He falls. It's an ace for Aquila. They'll march into the base, and they'll take the series 2-1 and advance to the semifinals.
it was about as good of a look as RTM was going to be able to get, but just weren't able to actually lock down Zydak long enough to take care of him. He's just so massive, able to turn that around. Really well played by Team Aquila again. Just from level 1, they had a plan and they stuck to it. Able to take this one down after a really close game 1 where they dropped it. They just completely brought it back. A couple of really good games, really in control games from them, as they're gonna be able to continue on to the semifinals.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Zydak, a monster in this series, putting the team on his back throughout most of the early and mid game. And yeah, Aquila advances 2-1. They're going to face the winner of. I'm going to check the results really quick. Yeah, they're not in yet. So they're going to face the winner of Glue Eaters and Cal Blue in the next round. And for RTM, made it a stage further than last season into the quarterfinals, but that's where the run's going to end. A 4-3 record on the season. A lot to be proud of, but a lot to build from as well.
Yeah, definitely. There were a lot of really good things and some great games. It just felt like in this case, it's had a little bit of trouble bringing it all together, and either way, a really strong season, really strong showing, and better than the uh, the last the last Upsurge season where they dropped out in the first round. This time around, making it to the second round of the playoffs. So just
Yeah. One Eyed
continually
Owl
getting better.
actually won the bet, by the way. Funnily enough, the victor over the Kog'Maw. I don't know
Oh,
how
I
many
got my
people had that
points
one.
back.
Yeah.
Hog.
So at least that's silver lining for you at the end of everything. But again, congratulations to Team Aquila. We're gonna raid Unified Live. They're in the other quarterfinal match. Go support our boys from Nightless Void. They've been giving me some cheeky bants on Twitter, so we appreciate them. They're from our group. Facing down the five amigos, they're into game 3 there. So go support Nightless Void, and we'll see you guys later this week, I guess, for LAS and LRS action.